brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. You can use promo code SUMMER with a minimum $5 deposit and get a $50 free play in the casino. Also, it is Tuesday, so make sure you go get that Lotto Max. You can do so at PlayAlberta.ca and make sure you use your game sense. My name is Connor Halley, sitting in for Jason Gregor. We got Declan Kruger and Donovan Paulson along with us on the other side. Shout out to everyone tuning in on Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook, as well as X. You can also tune into Sports 1440's Instagram to watch us live there as well. We put up some good numbers the last couple of weeks here, so go check us out on all of those platforms. And of course, you're listening on the radio. Hello, how you doing? Hope your day is going very well. 1-833-401-1440. That is the eWell inbox. Make sure you get your text into the show. Maybe you tuned in thinking, all right, good. Gregor is back. My apologies. You got me for one more day. Then Jason will be back for sure. Had a commitment he had to get to, so you got the, let's say the B team here. Still got an A squad on the board. A squad on the production team with Donovan Paulson. But I'll try to get you through this Tuesday edition of the show, and it's going to be a good one. Lots to get to, as there's a lot of topics here in the sporting world. We'll be joined by Ted Nguyen of The Athletic, covers the NFL. Of course, 2:03. That means 3 minutes ago, NFL teams did have to have their 53-man roster cut down. So there's a lot of free agents right now. A lot of players likely to end up on the practice roster. Some will be on the IR as well. But you know what? Some might trickle down to the CFL and maybe one of the spring football leagues as well. So there's going to be a lot of news coming down. Ted Nguyen will join us at 2:20 at 2:40. We'll have Wanye Gretz swing by the eWell studios here in West Edmonton Mall. He'll join us for the remainder of the show. We've got Ian Herbers, Golden Bears head coach for the men's hockey team. That's just after 3 o'clock. And then Dave McCarthy from SiriusXM will join us, take a look around the NHL. We'll talk to him about these rumors from Frank Saravalli that there might be a trade in the works that could maybe relieve the Oilers of the need to offer a PTO. Don't know exactly what this means, but the rumors are flying. I'm sure we'll get a few texted in here to the EUL inbox. We'll talk to Dave about that. Struddy will be by at 4:20. We'll talk to him about a variety of topics. As a former NHL player, if he were playing, what's going on right now? What are you doing? Are you starting to make your way back to your market? Are you potentially just really getting into the workouts? We'll talk to Struddy about that and more. And then at 5 o'clock, he'll be Spec as per usual. And Derek Van Diest of NHL.com will join us at 5:20. Of course, we had a trade out in Winnipeg last week. See what's going on out in Vancouver and Calgary. And of course, he's based in Edmonton. So we'll talk some Oilers with DVD later on in the show. Cousin Colin texting in. Kind words. Thank you, Cousin Colin. Geez, Connor, Gregor was that bad in his return, so he had to take over again? Kidding, of course. Yeah, MTR. No, that's not the case. This was actually planned out, and I think we kind of forgot about it. So it was a quick one-day return. We joked on Fantasy Frenzy that maybe Gregor just really enjoys vacationing and enjoys that more than work, so he's taking the day off. But no, he will be back on Wednesday, and then to recap the remainder of the week, Declan Kruger on the board today as well. Declan, I know there's a lot of people that are excited that you're going to be doing the 5 questions, because that means the return of one of the more popular segments here in 5 questions of the Mount Rushmore of something. Do you have any hints for what the Mount Rushmore will be today?
I don't, and that's not because I don't want to give any hints. That's just because I haven't thought of the questions yet. So you'll get those in about 2:40 or so. Then we'll have the Mount Rushmore. But how funny would it be if I just didn't do it? My one contribution to Edmonton sports radio being the Mount Rushmores, and I just decided to nix it.
That's it. It was a one-time, 2-week thing.
It was a 2-week thing. It was the best 2 weeks ever. It was like that Ethan Hawke movie where they're riding on the train. That was kind of like us. We had our own little before sunset with Mount Rushmore. So
is that what it's called?
Yeah, I think so. Or before sunrise, something like that. No, but I'll whip something up. I'll think of a good one. Any ideas for what you might want to hear from Mount Rushmore during 5 questions, please send them in. We're always happy to listen and appease everyone. So yeah, going to be a good show. Looking forward to it.
That's what you got to do. We got to keep people happy. I don't know if people missed it earlier today. Austin Mack signing a new 4-year contract extension with the Montreal Alouettes to keep him out in MTL. A very good player for the Alouettes. So the strength of the Alouettes, they're a pretty well-balanced team, but they lock up one of their best young players to a 4-year contract extension. Very good for him. In the NFL, we'll get to today, but there were a lot of movements, a lot of players being cut and released. I don't know if there's any that are too overly surprising. Kadarius Toney with the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the work that they've done this offseason to upgrade their receiving core, obviously drafting Xavier Worthy, they bring in Hollywood Brown. Probably not the biggest surprise for Kadarius Toney to be released. I'm sure he'll end up somewhere. other notable players, I mean, Donald Parham, he was released. Maybe if you were in a deep fantasy league and you needed a couple touchdowns, he might have been someone you look at. And then, of course, Odell Beckham Jr. for the Dolphins fans out there. He will begin the season on the PUP list. Not ideal for Odell, but he should be okay. Texans placed Case Keenum on the season-ending injured reserve. A couple of trades here and there as well. But we'll see what happens. There's always a couple of roster moves to be made. Maybe a few more players get traded. We did see one trade earlier on today involving the Tennessee Titans, bringing in Ernest Jones from the Rams, linebacker. So I'm not exactly sure if that's the most massive move, but hey, if you can get some compensation rather than having to let them go for free, you're always going to do that. We had a text coming in here just asking about our fantasy league we're starting up for Fantasy Frenzy. So if you don't tune into Fantasy Frenzy, that's a show that runs from 11 to noon every day here on Sports 1440, most popularly with fantasy football, but we talk all fantasy sports. And we're going to be doing a league this year, and it's only going to be a 12-team league. So if you want to get in on that, it's very simple. We're going to be doing kind of a ticket-style draw. So you can buy a ticket. It's $20 per ticket. The winner of the league is going to take a nice little cash prize home, and then the rest of the money is going to be donated to the Ben Stelter Foundation. You can buy as many tickets as you want. You could buy 10 tickets for $20 per piece. Now, if your name is selected with the first pick, the rest of your names come out. You're just one team in that league. So nobody's going to have multiple teams. You'll have one team, chance to win a prize. Trent from Wilhock Beef Jerky actually said he'll throw some jerky in as well. We'll get a 1440 hat and a little cash prize to make it worth it. And then the rest of the money will be going to the Ben Stelter Foundation to help young sick kids. That's a charity that we chose to support for this one. So if you do want to get on that, you can send it's $20 to Connor at sports1440.ca via the old e-transfer. It's got to be $20 increments, and we'll do the math there on that one. We'll do the draw Friday on the show. If anybody does want to get in on the Fantasy Frenzy draft, that's how we do. So next week, we're also going to set up a survivor pool where you basically just pick a winner each week of the season. You can only pick them once. A lot of fun with that one. Declan, do you ever get into the survivor pools or loser pools? Some people do.
Yeah, I've done them. They're fun. We did one last year with Fantasy Frenzy. They're not my main, like, fantasy's enough for me. Other than that, I really just like to watch the games and, obviously a little gambling here and there, but I don't like to have too many things taking my attention away from the actual game. So, I'll do them if asked, but I'm never one to jump out and do them on my own accord.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it didn't last long. I was eliminated after the first week, which was...
Which games was it? Which game was it, I should say?
I would have to go back and check.
Chargers versus Cardinals or something?
No, it wasn't the Chargers that let me down, unfortunately. I mean,
that's a first.
They won their first week. Had I gone with the Chargers, like my heart told me, I probably would have been fine. If I go back and scroll, that we'll look in the break here because I don't want to give you guys the greatest radio of all time. As I just scroll through the week 1 season last year, but it is fun. Brandon, my co-host in Fantasy Frenzy, was out after 2 weeks. We both kind of dropped the ball when it came to that one. So we're going to try to better ourselves when it comes around this year. Now, if you want to get on that, we'll start doing that next week on Fantasy Frenzy. Looking at the YouTube chat here, Ty, Pete, hello, El Presidente. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button. We would appreciate that as we get going along here. Mill Creek Dog Walker. 5 questions. I think this might even just be for your Mount Rushmore. Most hated players by Oilers fans on opposing teams, just to be clear. I don't know if Declan's going to go that way. It's not Positive Friday, so we can go negative. Hated players on opposing teams for Oilers fans.
I am a first team all hater, so I don't mind that at all.
You wake up early to hate.
I wake up early, so I have extra time in my day to hate. It's true.
We could almost even open that up to all sports.
I like that. Shout out Mill Creek Dog Walker. First of all, beautiful place to walk your dog, but that's a great one. I really like that because, like I said, born hater. So I think we're onto something here.
Now, Declan, let's say we were just opening it up to all sports. Who's number 1 on the list?
For me?
Because even if we go with that one, we'll only give away a quarter of our answer.
So my most hated player in all of sports, it's so tough. There's so many people I hate. I think it might be Draymond Green.
Draymond?
Yeah.
You know what? That's a good one. I think that'd be a very popular one as well.
I think he might be my number 1.
Yeah. I mean, Tom Brady might be on my list. I respect the hell out of him.
As a Bills fan,
it's
you would
just
think he would be
jealousy.
high on the list for me, but I have to say, like, maybe I'm outing myself here. There was something, obviously, I hated when they were winning the division every year, and like you just knew, you woke up at the beginning of the season and knew the division was a foregone conclusion. But you had to respect how good he was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Draymond, if he had been on Orlando instead of Golden State this entire time, they're 20-62 every season. You know what I mean? So, and Draymond, he constantly writes checks that Steph has to cash, whereas Tom Brady backed it up because he was that good. And there's something about that that is respectable.
What if Tom went to another team? What if he was with like?
What if Tom was with the Golden State Warriors and Draymond was quarterback for the New England Patriots?
Just wouldn't have worked.
How different are the legacies?
What if Drew Bledsoe never gets hurt? Does Tom Brady get the opportunity to play?
It's a question worth asking.
In another universe, Tom Brady was out of the league in 3 years.
In another universe, Tom Brady is the best Saskatchewan Roughriders quarterback in the history of time.
And then like probably became a male model or something.
In Regina.
Yeah. Was going to have success no matter what. Northeast Mike says, Mike Modano. You know, even when he was on the other side, I kind of respected his game. Good player. Good looking guy. Ontario Momes says it's got to be Matthew Tkachuk all day long. The fact that he took time to rip the city of Edmonton during his Family Cup speech, I hope he gets bathroom issues. Keep it clean here, Ontario Momes. Yeah, that was weird when he like looked at the weather and then in his speech like said something about the Edmonton weather. Weird, like weird flex. Oliver says old school Neil Sheehy. Sean says Corey Perry until he was with us. Yeah, I think that would be a good one. Corey Perry rattled a lot of people's cages. Propane P says LeBron James, hand down. Beerman says it can only be on Positive Friday. I positively hate. There you go. Okay, we can spin it on that one. We also had Boss Hog saying Mount Rushmore of chip flavors. Original Doritos, Miss Vicky Jalapeno, Lay's Sour Cream and Onion, and Ruffles all dressed. I mean, the hating of players seems to be a little bit more popular. People are really liking it. Robin Regeer blew up Oilers games for over a decade, or blew up an Oiler game for over a decade from Ty. Yeah, Alashemsky probably being the big one with those. Your man says Tim Hunter. Joel says Sean Avery. Flooring Ninja, Ryan Kessler. Kessler's a very good one. Did it for a couple franchises for sure. Darian Hatcher, that pylon hacking a stick. Pillman, yeah, Darian Hatcher for me was one I did not like. You could go with a whole lot of the Dallas Stars in the late 90s. There would always be one that stands out. This isn't hated. I don't know. It might be. Dustin, first-time texter. Thanks for texting in. Derek Jeter is by far the most overrated baseball player of all time. Guy was like a 14-time All-Star? Won a whole bunch of gold gloves, 6 championships. He might be the most overrated player of all time. But he's also, 99.6 or something? 99.7% of people had him in the Hall of Fame. Very good player. That could take me on a rant of my own. Who the heck would say Derek Jeter, not a Hall of Famer? You're just trying to be different. You didn't want him to have 100% of the vote, so someone had to be that guy. Loser. Ulf Samuelson from Bruins and Jags fan Chad, Claude Lemieux, Matt Cook, PK Subban, and Patrick Waugh. Ontario Mom says, I vetoed the name Avery for every single one of my children because of Sean Avery. Ron Hextall, Ryan Kessler. Hey, boys, most hated Carl Lewis from Brew Crew. Ron says Alex Burrows for a few years. Could not stand him. Propane Pieces. In an alternative universe, Tom Brady caught the Expos to 3 championships, and Montreal is among the 10 most valuable sports franchises in the world. I like that one. It's fun going down a different universe and seeing what could have happened. Dirty Curdy says the Sardine Twins, when they dominated us 6 games a year for 10 years straight during the decade of darkness, still feel bad for 18-year-old Nuge in the dot. So the Sedin Twins called the Sardine Twins. I've never seen that one before, but I like it. Sugar Sean O'Malley, can't stand the poodle from the commish. Declan, why is Sugar Sean hated? Is that a common thing amongst the MMA world?
I would say he's pretty divisive. I would say with Sean, I think a lot of people felt he got, the Dana White privilege, if you will. He got kind of an unfair push. He had a number one contender fight against a guy named Peter Yan, and his best result before that was a no contest with Pedro Munoz. Now, to Sean O'Malley's credit, he's done what he said he would do. He went out there and he beat Peter Yan, albeit a close fight. He knocked out the champion at the time, Aljamain Sterling, in very impressive fashion, and he's defended his belt. But I think there are a lot of people out there who think he's a little too brash, a little too big for his britches, and like I said, maybe had some undeserved opportunities. I don't mind Sean O'Malley. I think he's a very good fighter. I think he's a pinpoint sniper. I think he's exciting. He's definitely not my favorite fighter. He's definitely not my least favorite fighter, but I would say those are the two biggest reasons people may not like him.
Chad, good one here. Says Kevin Bieksa, but I love him as an analyst. I'm with you. I think he does a great job as an analyst with CBC, but as a player, you did not like him. Trailer Park Ryan, Kevin Bieksa was easily my least favorite person for a long time. He had such a big mouth and always tried to pick fights with guys like Jordan Eberle or small non-physical players. Now he is one of my favorite commentators. Trailer Park Ryan. He won everyone over. Rodrigo says Jason Tatum. One of my favorite memes.
Great answer, Rodrigo. Great answer.
One of the best memes going around right now is when somebody does something kind of like cool, epic, and they're like, don't let Jason Tatum see this. Because, he's just going to do it and make it a lot more lame. Patty and Spruce says Matt Barnaby. Also another one, no name on it, saying Matthew Barnaby. Get that name in there so we can add you to our system. That'd go a long ways. Krager says Brad Marchand. AH says, I can't hate players for being good. For me, it is Kaepernick for his activism, or Vic, you're a dog lover. But for hockey players, Austin Matthews. I can't get mad at people for their beliefs, but I can be mad at them for what they do to dogs. So I can agree with you for Vic. Glad to see he's really got on the other side of that and become a better citizen from it. But yeah, that was not ideal. Pickleman, a.k.a. Neil, says Marc-Andre Bergeron for his bonehead play and hit on Rollis in 2006. Oilers win the cup if that didn't happen. Yeah, but remember the sick hip check he had against the Stars a couple years before that, I want to say? I forget who it was on. Maybe like one of the cleanest hits I've ever seen. Mike Keane telling Oilers fans to go home after the Stars knocked the Oilers out again from displaced you, Connor. Mount Rushmore from Brad. Ryan Kessler, Alexander Burrows, Travis Kelce, Julian Edelman. Rod says, you hate these guys, but when they play on your team, you love them. That's it. That's the best part about it.
Another guy I really hated was Todd Bertuzzi for his involvement in, the play that has obviously become famous. He was another guy I just always thought was a grade A scumbag. Never liked him.
Him and the
I heard Struddy talk about him highly when Struddy did, a podcast with a certain show, and I was a little surprised. Like, apparently stand-up guy to the people he knows, but I just could never get behind Todd Bertuzzi.
But another guy, if he's on your team, you might find a way to like him. You find yourself defending him. I mean,
do you think you were that guy in your sports days, Connor? Hated to be played against, loved to be played with?
No, I was not that. I think if you ever saw me in sports, I go, here comes an easy one. We got an easy game today, boys. Don't get
circle game.
Don't get too worked up. It's all good. Keep those texts coming in. 1-833-401-1440. We're hating today. It's Haters Tuesday on the Jason Gregor Show.
It's a good day to be a hater, baby.
You can text him in. Who do you hate? Cat Dad says, I always hated Doug Flutie when he was in the CFL. He was cool when he went to the NFL, and we didn't have to deal with him anymore. Yeah, hey, that's why I was a Bills fan for a bit, and then a Chargers fan. Love Doug Flutie. The guy could ball. When we come back, though, let's talk some more football. It is cut day in the NFL. Teams getting down to 53-man rosters. So the next few hours, days will be interesting as players are going to be all over the place, picked up, cut, released, signed to the practice roster. It's going to be a lot of fun today. We'll talk to Ted Nguyen of The Athletic, and also on the show today, Dave McCarthy, Struddy, Wanye Gretz will be by. We'll be joined by Ian Herbers, head coach of the Golden Bears hockey team, and a whole lot more. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, as well as the Oilers Nation YouTube, Facebook, and X streams, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
The road lays ahead. Your potential destinations are endless. Volvo Cars Edmonton gives you choice to match. Right now, lease a new 2024 Volvo XC90 from 0% for qualifying loyal customers, or save $7,500 on all new 2024 XC60 Recharge plug-in hybrid models. All demo vehicles come with a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty. No matter what you decide how to move forward, your first choice is Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. 1205 101 Street Southwest.
You see us working on the roads. You see us working in neighborhoods throughout Edmonton and area. Well, what are we doing? We are GS Construction, and we're moving, upgrading, and repairing all of that underground infrastructure so that other work can go on. Things like maintaining water, wastewater, and stormwater draining services. Things you may take for granted, but definitely need. For 50 years, GS Construction has been laying the groundwork for your community. Find out more by going to gsconstruction.ca.
Why tee off at the Ranch Golf and Country Club?
A fun, unique layout offering premier conditions. The Ranch has been ranked as one of the top public courses in Canada.
Unmatched value. Score Golf Magazine rated the Ranch as the best value in Edmonton.
The service, from tournaments to special events to the pro shop. Superior service that makes every visit exceptional.
The Ranch Golf and Country Club, a laid-back environment where anyone can enjoy an amazing day on the fairways. For details, visit theranchgolf.com.
Jonathan and Murray are friends.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy. Except when they talk about which stadium is more fun in the summer.
Dude, Commonwealth has Elks fan park. Tailgating at its finest.
But it can't compare to the old ballpark in the River Valley. Riverhawks games are electric. But ask them who makes the best beef jerky in Alberta, and they'll tell you.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky.
It's the only thing everyone can agree on. So, pick some up for your summer pregame snack.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky, because you don't win friends with salad.
The Toronto Blue Jays are on Sports 1440. Every weekend, catch all the action with play-by-play announcer Ben Schulman. The Blue Jays, this Saturday and Sunday on Sports 1440. Edmonton's home for all things sports.
Move Water is your one-stop shop for all things water. From freshwater to wastewater, we've got the pumps and solutions to keep your water moving where it matters most.
Move Water, your water solution experts.
Visit movewater.ca today.
Bacon or sausage and egg McMuffin? It's a delicious dilemma. But what if you didn't have to choose? The Mighty McMuffin is back with bacon and sausage. Mighty McMuffin, mighty impressive. For a limited time at participating McDonald's in Canada.
Good. How are you?
Young NFL fan, was there a player or two that you hated the most? Respectfully, of course.
As a Raider fan growing up, I would definitely have to say Simeon Rice for traumatizing me in 2002 in that Super Bowl, one of my worst childhood memories, as part of that amazing Bucks defense at the time. And I'll say Kevin Garnett. You know, I also grew up a Laker fan, and those Celtic teams were always very tough to deal with as a Laker fan, obviously.
Now, just asking as a Chargers fan myself, did you hate Phillip Rivers in the trash talk?
No, actually, I appreciated Phillip Rivers. You know, I was a fan of his game. I thought he was aggressive. You don't see quarterbacks normally that animated, so I appreciated Phillip Rivers, even though he was a menace to the Raiders. And that also reminded me about Damian Tomlinson, who was also a terror for the Raiders.
He had a couple good years at LT. Ted, really appreciate you doing this today. I know it's a very busy one for you with all the cuts going on. So far, we've seen every team get down to their 53-man roster. Were there any surprise cuts or trades today that kind of stood out to you?
I thought the Ernest Jones trade for the Rams was kind of interesting because Ernest Jones was a very good linebacker for them last year. He was a big part of their game plan. He's a very unique linebacker with his ability to blitz. So for them to trade him and for him to publicly come out and say he didn't want a trade was very surprising to me. But he ended up with the Tennessee Titans, who is running Mike Macdonald's system because Jannard Wilson, their defensive coordinator, was the Ravens' the defensive backs coach last year. I think that's a very interesting fit because, as we know, the Ravens love to blitz their linebackers. Patrick Queen was one of the best blitzing linebackers in the league. And now you have Ernest Jones, who's going to be playing in that same role. So to me, that was a surprising transaction, even though that wasn't a cut.
Now, going back, big picture this offseason, is there a team that you think improved the most heading into the season?
I just think the Titans the Titans are actually one of the teams that improved most too. You know, adding a guy like Ernest Jones and Calvin Ridley and just kind of going all in with Will Levis. But the team I was originally going to say were the Texans. I just think the Texans are ready to take that leap into being Super Bowl contenders. C.J. Stroud had one of the best rookie years we've ever seen. They had a Stephon Diggs sit at receiving core. Their offensive line is I think it's going to be one of the better offensive lines in the league. They added pass rushers to a defense that was kind of on the rise towards the end of the season. So I just think, I don't know, there might be a team that has made kind of a bigger leap from, maybe where they were to where they're at now. But for me, just the Texans becoming a true Super Bowl contender are going to be one of the biggest stories of the season.
Ted Nguyen of The Athletic joining us here, talking a little NFL and the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley sitting in. Ted, what do you make of the Atlanta Falcons and what they were able to do, not only, I guess, with the players that they brought in, being a little more aggressive in training camp, acquiring the likes of Matthew Judon and signing Justin Simmons, but also the change at the coach position as well?
Yeah, I think, as far as hiring Zach Robinson, who I think is one of the more promising offensive coordinators in the league, and kind of switching over to that Ram system, and then having Kirk Cousins run it, I think they're going to be much improved offensively. I think those weapons that they have, like Drake London, Kyle Pitts, will finally be unlocked. And the defense, I think the defense it was a big question in the offseason, and they come in and make 2 last-minute moves for Judon and Simpson, who I think are going to be very good for them. So I think this team is going to be improved. The NFC South is going to be wide open as we know it. And I think they made enough improvements to where they should be looked at as a favorite in that division.
Ted, when you just go back to the draft, and maybe you can take Caleb Williams out of this one or leave it in if you'd like. But when you look at the next quarterbacks that were selected, talking Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Bo Nix, Michael Penix Jr., JJ McCarthy, long term, who do you think will have the most success?
To me, Drake May. I thought Drake May was the closest to Caleb Williams as a prospect. You just see his maturity in the pocket, his willingness to play in a muddy pocket. And we saw that in the preseason. We saw the arm, the athleticism. I just think he has all the tools you want, and as the prototypical modern quarterback that everybody's looking for. So to me, he does need some development as far as his footwork, but the talent is there for him to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league in terms of just having all the tools.
You mentioned you are a Raiders fan. So what are you thinking for both Brock Bowers as well as Devontae Adams this year? Maybe as a fantasy perspective, because I know there are some questions at quarterback.
Yeah, I think the quarterback situation is definitely going to limit Devontae Adams. If he was in a better situation, he would, be one of the top receivers you want in fantasy. And as far as Brock Bowers, I think he's going to be used a lot in interesting ways. They lined up at fullback, they lined up at slot receiver, outside receiver in his limited snaps in preseason. But I don't know how much he's going to be able to produce, especially he's going to be used in tandem with Michael Mayer, who they drafted in the second round last year. It just takes tight ends a little bit more time to acclimate into the NFL, and his ceiling's going to be limited by the quarterback situation. So I think he'll be a good player, an effective player, but I just don't know if it's going to translate into great fantasy production.
Ted Nguyen of The Athletic joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show, taking a look around the NFL, looking at Cleveland right now. Jameis Winston, Tyler Huntley, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, all making the roster for the Browns with Deshaun Watson, 4 quarterbacks. Do you expect one of those players to be traded at some point here?
Yeah, I think this is a quarterback-needy league. I think they announced that they're going to keep Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who I think would have been an interesting trade candidate for several teams, including the Raiders. Just because, he's young, he's athletic, and he put up some great tape in the preseason. Jameis Winston is a veteran who's kind of bounced around, and, maybe he could provide a spark for another team, but we know where his ceiling is because of his propensity to turn the ball over. I always like Tyler Huntley a lot more than other people maybe, because just every time he had to come in at pinch, he performed. Maybe he doesn't have the highest ceiling, but I think, he does give you a good baseline as a quarterback who can run some option plays and have some downfield accuracy.
We're joined by Ted Nguyen here on the Jason Gregor Show. When you look at the AFC East right now, I think, I could listen to arguments for 3 of the 4 teams that they could be division winners when it comes to the Bills, Jets, and the Dolphins. How do you think that division is going to play out?
Yeah, that's going to be a very tough division. I think the Bills, you always have to look at the Bills as the class of the division, just because, to me, Josh Allen is the second best quarterback in the league, but they have lost some talent, and that receiving core is going to be a big question mark. Keon Coleman, who they drafted early, did not look good in preseason. He doesn't look like he's ready for the spotlight, and without Stephon Diggs, that receiving corp is going to be in dire need of a playmaker. Dalton Kincaid is a guy who they drafted in the first round, but I don't know if he's going to be a big play tight end. He's going to be a guy that moves the chain for you. He's going to be a security blanket for Josh Allen, but they don't have that big playmaker in that offense anymore. So we'll see how far Josh Allen can carry the offense. I think they lost some defensive talent as well. For so long, their identity on defense was built on having 2 all-pro safeties. They don't have that anymore. I think, the coaching is good enough to where the defense is going to be still a really good defense. But when they play some of the top teams, I think that's going to be when it gets tough. And I think, with the Dolphins, I just think they have so much talent, but they did not perform well against top competition last year. I just don't know if they have the physicality to be a top contender. Well, that remains to be seen. And obviously, we know Tua kind of struggles when the weather gets colder at the end of the year. To me, I just think and also, the Jets are the Jets have talent, but it's just like these guys get hurt so much. Aaron Rodgers is older. A lot of their top players are injury prone. So to me, the Bills are still the top team in the AFC East.
And one last question for you. You can give me a couple names here if you like, but who are some potential breakout candidates there on either side of the ball?
Are you just talking about overall NFL, or are we looking at a specific team?
I'll go overall NFL.
Let's see. Breakout candidates. George Pickens, I think, is going to be in line for a big season, and we've all sort of seen the flashes, but he's going to be a number 1 receiver with the Steelers. The quarterback situation is pretty rough, but he's going to get force-fed a ton of targets. So, I think he's going to have a big season. And defensively, I think for the Buccaneers, their first round pick last year. I'm kind of blanking on his name. Defensive tackle.
Out of Pitt, right?
Cansey.
Yeah.
Out of Pitt. Cansey. I think he's going to have a big season. I liked what he put on film a lot last year as undersized D tackle. And I think this year he's going to be even stronger and faster. And I think he's in line for a breakout season as a defensive tackle.
Awesome stuff, Ted. Really appreciate you coming on the show today. Enjoy the rest of the week here, and then it's going to be full swing right away.
No problem. Thanks for having me on.
There you go. That is Ted Nguyen, covers the NFL with The Athletic. Appreciate him joining us for the Football Report, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Check them out online at legacyheating.ca. Before we got to Ted, in our first segment of the show, we were talking about athletes I guess you love to hate. It started off negative here on this Tuesday. I don't know what's in the water or anything like that. Maybe people are a little bit sour. Maybe it's all based out of respect. J-Lock says, where's the hatred for Kessler? That man will always be low-hanging fruit. Well, there's a few people that agree with you. Great Urban J says Kevin Bieksa and Jordan Eberle, Googie or Gucci. One day I'm going to get that name down pat, says Jake and Logan Paul. I think that is a very good one. Ontario Moan says, I believe people refer to you as sack lunch. That was going up against me. Yeah. Good little gif you threw in there as well. Classic. Dr. Dick Richard, Matt Cook. Hacksaw says, boys, without question, it's Johnny Hockey. That handle alone is enough when you see his soft as puppy poo style of play. Oh, he looks good in Columbus, don't he? From Hacksaw. Ricky in the Donut says, A's pitcher, Dennis Eckersley. Jays couldn't beat in the early 90s, and they finally did in 1992 to win the World Series. He was the most intimidating pitcher during his era. John says, all-time, Darian Hatcher. Currently, Rasmus Anderson. Alex Edler deserves honorable mention as well. Firthy says, Ben Simmons. He's a clown who shouldn't be in the NBA. Declan, you agree with that one?
Yeah, more or less. And I had really, really high hopes for Ben Simmons coming out of LSU. I thought he was going to be just a worse LeBron James, but still very good the way he could rebound the ball, pass the ball, score on the inside. But he is just beyond a shell of himself. And if he's out of the NBA, I don't think anyone's upset.
Quickly jumping in, Nardog says, hey guys, is Spotify the only way to listen to past shows or segments? No, you can go on you can go on YouTube and watch the entire show. You could also go on Apple, I think Google Podcasts, pretty much wherever you get your podcast from. You can get us. If you want Jason Gregor Show clips, you can go to jasongregor.com as well. Kristen Victoria says Jamie Benn, the most overrated player in the entire NHL, won the scoring race with 78 points in the dead puck era. Never fights the big guys. Remember when Nurse put him into the bench on McDavid's lap after he was trying to fight Hyman? That, and he stole a woman from me. LOL. Kristen Victoria. Sometimes we wonder that. Like, why do people hate random people? Did he steal your girl? Chris, confirming that it does happen. Brian says Mac T. Rick says Mount Rushmore, Shaq, Conor McGregor, Emmett Smith, and Patrick Waugh. I thought we'd see more Conor McGregor, to be honest with you, Declan. Some people love him.
He's probably second for me behind Draymond Green.
Floyd Mayweather from Flooring Ninja.
Loved Floyd.
Todd the Sign God says, how can anyone forget the number one idiot on and off the ice, Sean Avery? AI says, the Juice, OJ Simpson. Brad says, Wanye Gretz for never showing his face. I wonder if we could get a face reveal if we get like 1,000 likes on our YouTube video. That would like blow away our all-time score, but maybe if we get 1,000 likes, I can convince Wanye to do a face reveal. Cardinal of Clive says, most hated player, Darian Hatcher. If you're a 90s Oilers fan, you know what I'm talking about. I don't know anything about him, and I still hate him. Mark says, hi guys, got to be Scott Stevens. Ending Paul Kariya's career was brutal. Thanks, Mark. Remember when Paul Kariya got up off the ice and then scored a goal after that? I get goosebumps every time I watch that. My wife thinks I'm crazy, but I'm like, I can't help it. It's just such an epic moment in sports. Curtis says, in Edmonton on business from Calgary. I grew up in Saskatchewan, had Rider season tickets for 15 years from the early 2000s to 2018. Most hated but respected player was Ricky Ray. He picked mid-Rider defender away every game as long as I can remember. Respected him, but he pissed me off for a decade and a half. I get that. Like Ricky Ray would just chop you up, slice and dice. Not necessarily always big plays, but just could get you underneath as well. That's a very good pick. Mill Creek Dogwalker. Theo Fleury, Tim Hunter, Neil Sheehy, Jim Poplinski and Matthew Kachuk. I noticed a trend there. Rodrigo says Patrick Mahomes' wife. You don't like Brittany? Sam Bennett from Darren, working on his name, Sean Avery. Brent says Philip Broberg and any other player that requests a trade. Montana Rice says Mahomes and Mahomes' whole family, his wife and brother, hate them. Kids are okay. I'm putting that in myself. And Northside Lou says Nick Kyrgios. Kyrgios, Declan?
Kyrgios.
I thought it was Kyrgios. Is there a G in there?
There is a G in there.
So silent G.
It's a Greek name, but it's pronounced Kyrgios.
Nick Kyrgios, biggest baby in tennis, but talented, right?
Very, very talented. Definitely a baby, but kind of plays into it in a way that you kind of respect it because he's being him and he's doing it unapologetically.
He is who he is. We'll keep those coming in here. Pillman says, so in other cities, is 97 their most hated? I would almost guarantee it.
I can think of one city where he is the most hated. I can think of two, actually.
Which is the other one? Vancouver?
The beautiful city that trumps us in every area, according to Vancouver citizens. Vancouver, yes. Vancouver residents, I should say. And Calgary, right? Like, it has to be. He has to be the most hated.
I mean...
It honestly, actually, you know what? It might be Johnny Hockey the way he left for people in Calgary, but I would still probably lean McDavid.
And that's one like that. You know, he hasn't won a championship yet, but he's made your life hell for a couple of playoffs here for those franchises. 1-833-401-1440. If anyone's listening in Calgary or Vancouver, let us know. I'm trying to think like if you're Calgary, maybe like that could be a good one. Like Goudreau did leave in pretty tough fashion.
Sam in Vancouver, avid listener of the show. We would love to hear from you.
Text in. You know the number. Let's take a break here. When we come back, we might have Wanye Gretz with us. It might be at 3 o'clock. Lots to get to here on the Jason Gregor Show. Sans Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, Donovan Paulson with you here. We joined by Ian Herbers, head coach of the University of Alberta Hockey Golden Bears. Dave McCarthy at 3:20. We got Struddy, we got Spec, we got DVD, 5 questions and more. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440 and the Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook pages, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, and exhilarating sporting events.
Get ready for global icon Paula Abdul live with special guests Taylor Dane and Tiffany at the Edmonton Expo Centre Arena Friday, October 4th. The Paula Abdul Straight Up to Canada Tour 2024.
Get your tickets now and visit our full calendar of events at edmontonexpocentre.com.
It seems the price of everything is redonkulous. So at Wolf GMC Buick, we're trying to make it easy on your wallet. We have a huge selection of GMCs with finance rates starting at 0%. Wait, did I just say 0%? I did. And why am I talking to myself? Oh boy. The prices are fantastic, selection top-notch, and the vehicles, well, you already know that they're stellar. Get into Wolf GMC Buick now, just off the Anthony Henday. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
The Charm Offensive with Jim Jeffries.
Every generation before you has also been the most progressive generation.
And Jimmy Carr.
I don't know how to explain this to you. I'm not that small. I'm just far away.
One night, 2 comedy icons. September 8th, Rogers Place. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.ca. The Charm Offensive with Jim Jeffries and Jimmy Carr. Produced by Outback Presents.
The Brick's famous tent sale is back in town. Find up to 60% off clearance items and check out fantastic deals in every department. Like up to 30% off sofas and up to 50% off mattresses. Visit The Brick while the tent is up and the prices are down. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance. When you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
The only thing as hot as the weather this summer is a night out at On the Rocks. Every weekend, enjoy live music and top DJs spinning your favorite tracks. The dance floor is the place to be. Celebrating a birthday or stagette? Let OTR take the work out of the planning for you. Book your party online at ontherocksedmonton.com. Join OTR every evening from 4 p.m. for a great atmosphere and good company. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Grab your Good Vibe Drive and head to On the Rocks, corner of Jasper Ave and 118th Street.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to
call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
If you've ever restored a classic car or seen one, you smile because you know what it took to get that beauty looking pristine. The same is true for men who restore their hair. Nothing but smiles for miles. Patients from all over Canada travel to see me, Dr. Vance Elliott, to have their hair loss treated and remedied. I've been helping people for 28 years. My practice is outfitted with the most innovative and latest hair transplant techniques and technology. And I do it myself. Contact us at drvanceelliott.com.
Paulson with you here live from the eWell Studios in West Edmonton Mall. Show brought to you by playalberta.ca. Lots to get to on the show still. We've kind of went into a rabbit hole of people we hate, but like in a respectful sports way for the most part. Sometimes it's personal. The haters like Declan. What's the old Chappelle Show skit? The haters ball. Did you see that one, Declan? It was a good one. It was a very good one for sure. Well, maybe we'll watch it during the break here. Of course, we're going to talk some NFL, some NHL. We'll talk maybe some CFL as well. We got Wanye Gretz coming up here. We're going to talk some college hockey. The Golden Bears. I don't know if you guys heard this, but they are heading to Ireland to play a couple games in Belfast. They're going to play Carleton University on Saturday, and then on Sunday they'll take on the Belfast Giants. Their head coach, Ian Herbers, is going to join us in our next segment and talk about that just a little bit. I'm curious, how did that come to be? The travel, that's going to be tough because then you got Mount Royal on Friday and Saturday, home and home series. Saturday night, they'll be down at the Drake. It'll be cool, followed by a series with McEwen. You got UFC, Saskatchewan, and then, geez Louise, we're already into October. It's going to fly by. It's going to be a busy month in September when it all gets going. So we'll talk to Coach Herbers about that in a few minutes here. Also about his new recruits that they bring into the Golden Bears as Canada West. It's getting more and more competitive. Teams are doing a really good job there. It's not going to be easy. It used to be a walkthrough for the Golden Bears. Now it's a little bit tougher. We'll be joined by Dave McCarthy at 3:20. We got Struddy at 4:20. I think he had hoped to play collegiate hockey down south and ended up going to the Blazers and then having a great NHL career. Speck at 5 o'clock and Derek Van Diest at 5:20. Also, we will have Wanye Gretz swinging by in a few minutes here. I got the glass doors open, so hopefully he'll mosey on in shortly. We were talking about those athletes you just don't like. Morgan has Antonio Brown. That's a good one. Montana to Rice. He just thinks the Rams are going to be bad in the middle of the field, and they sent a player away. Theocracy says Ben Roethlisberger and basically every other Steeler except for Polamalu. That guy was too great to hate. He's a Ravens fan. I know that, Democracy. So, yeah, that's kind of like the Jerome McGinley for Oilers fans. We hate the Flames, but you got to respect Jerome McGinley. Farm Team says Craig Ludwig and his stupid homemade shin pads. Rod had been asking why I didn't mention LeBron James. Well, we had LeBron James. Rod also doesn't like LeBron James. Declan also giving him a thumbs down. He hasn't done anything that bad. I mean, he's a flopper, yeah. He's got the star treatment for a long time, but what's the worst thing he's done? That jerk. He held that stupid announcement to go to Miami. A little cringy when we look back at it, but all in all, for a guy who's been in the spotlight for 20 plus years, he stayed pretty clean. Sean says, can't stand Patrick Cantley and Phil Mickelson. I like the golf ones getting in here. Tony Granato, no name. I'm going to ask if we can get your name so we can add you to our system. And then you don't have to give us your name ever again. We'll just know. Rodrigo says, LeBron hate is out of pocket. Declan, I feel like when you reach that level of success, you're going to get haters. It doesn't matter who it is.
Yes.
Patrick Mahomes, pretty normal guy. A lot of people don't like him. Partly, I think, because of his wife and brother. They gave him some bad press. Tom Brady, all that guy did was win and was a pretty good role model for the most part. And he made my list of guys I don't like. Derek Jeter, bit of a womanizer. Maybe we can knock him on that if you want. But these guys who have so much success and become the best of the best, I think they just get a lot of, unnecessary hate. Part of the sports world, though. You're in the public eye. Most people will love you, but there's going to be the haters like us that just see it all the time.
Connor, I think you nailed it. I don't think I could have said it better myself. And two things. One, I don't actually think LeBron's the GOAT. I think it's Jordan.
Yeah.
But two, like you said, LeBron has been in the spotlight for 20 plus years, came in the league as an 18-year-old kid, weighed the world on his shoulders, nothing but expectations. And the biggest thing he ever did wrong, if you want to use that word, quote unquote wrong, was his announcement to leave for Miami. And he has lived up to expectations. He has become the NBA's all-time leading scorer. And there's no reason not to like him outside of that he's just been too good for too long. And that's really what it comes down to with LeBron. And yes, he has had instances of flopping a little bit. And yes, he did not handle the move to Miami the best way he possibly could. But as someone who came into the league at 18 years old with no father, with a mother who was 34 at the time, who had him at 16, with no real media training, PR, no real male role model in his life, he has done nothing but hold himself to exceptional status, and you have to give him credit for that.
When I circle back and look at LeBron, because, meme culture is pretty big. Does he read books? I don't know. There's a lot of pictures of him with books, and
I give you that. He does like to lie.
Sometimes
he lies about reading his books for sure.
There was a really good,
but you know what?
Couple of weeks about the LeBron knowing everything.
He's here to play basketball. He's not here to play school.
I'm with you. Hey,
we don't come here to play school.
He didn't even have to. He just went straight to the pros. It's a heck of a run. LeBron James for sure, the most hated clown from Smitty the Welder.
Shame on you, Smitty the Welder. You bite your tongue.
Rodrigo says Braun the GOAT. And then send some emojis as well. Chris S. says, I hated Kevin Bieksa his entire playing career, but now I really like the guy after he joined the Hockey Night panel. Guy knows the game. That's it. It's so funny how he turned himself around in the eye of, and maybe it was just the Oilers fans, maybe Flames fans as well, because they would have had to go up against it. I don't know if they like him as much. I mean, he was pretty complimentary towards the Oilers, but I think he's a really good analyst, and he's, gotten better throughout his time with CBC. Will says, every U.S. 100-meter sprinter ever. Cocky SOBs. And then Aaron says, how about the commentators? Brandel Chambly and Skip Bayless. Yeah, I get those guys that, they're just trying to get a reaction out of you. Some of the shows down south. If all you do is spout off those things just to go the opposite way, I think at some point you just lose credibility. If forever I just said Tom Brady was overrated because I didn't like him. Gosh. Eventually, you just got to admit it. He's the GOAT. He's the best there is. On a biased personal level, yeah, I hate him. But man, just to hate people and be just argue against everything, can't do it all the time. Todd says, just tuned in. Todd, don't change the dial. He says, where is Gregor? Gregor, Todd, I don't know. I forget. Over the summer, there was days that people needed off. I could have told you for the last 2 weeks he was on vacation, but today I'm really not sure what it is. So I can't tell you. Donovan Paulson says LeBron's acting career deserves the hate. From across the room, Donovan, you could have just yelled it. Yeah, I watched about a minute of the new Space Jam. Couldn't get into it. Although wasn't he in another one with Amy Schumer and
Bill Hader
and John Cena?
Yeah.
Was that the same movie? He was okay in that, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, look at that cast. I don't think he's doing himself any favors working alongside Amy Schumer. But yeah, his acting career pretty horrendous. And that Space Jam movie, I saw it in theaters. Obviously, you know me, basketball guy. Maybe the worst movie I've ever seen. Top 10 for sure. It was so bad, so hard to sit through. But I did it for the love of the game.
I almost watched it on a plane, like nothing else to watch, and I still turned it off. So yeah,
that's
not great.
That is maybe the most scathing review of a movie I've ever heard. Yeah, I was on a plane and I still had to turn it off. Do you know how bad a movie has to be for you to turn it off on a plane and just sit there instead?
That's it. Well, I mean, I downloaded other things, but it was the option on the plane and I didn't watch it. Ben Dangle says the Bruins Homer color commentator. Hate the guy. Ty P says basically politics. That's fair. You can disagree with people's politics. This is too easy. Theo Fleury. There's another guy who I think people politics-wise might not all agree with. Sean says, also love how LeBron went back to Cleveland to win a championship. Yeah, that was cool. He got the team kind of built for him, though, right? That was Kevin Love was brought in. Kyrie was there. Was Love there before LeBron, Declan?
He was not.
They traded Anthony Bennett?
No, that was Andrew Wiggins.
Was Wiggins going to go to Cleveland?
He was, yep.
And he went to Minnesota instead. I knew it was a Canadian. One was a little bit better, yeah. What happened to Bennett was still with the Cavs for a while?
No, he was gone by that time because he was drafted 2013. So he was out by then. Not a long tenure in Cleveland for old Anthony Bennett.
Just 31 years old still. He's still a free agent. That draft, I mean, pretty tough overall. He was only with Cleveland for 2 years. Then he went to Minnesota. Sometime with the Raptors. He played in Taiwan this past season. Cool. Still playing. Good for him. Not a great NHL career. Lots of text coming in. LeBron is a BS artist with talent. Then he tries so hard to be not someone who never went to college. He didn't. Does some good work with his money, though.
Yeah, I'm a little confused by what that one means. He tries his hardest not to be someone who went to college. Like he didn't go to college.
Yeah, he went one of the last greats to skip the collegiate ranks and go right to the NBA. I know who the last one was to do it, but I forget his name. Amir Johnson, former Raptor. That's who it was. Smitty the Welder talking about LeBron. The guy flops everywhere and figures he is a political donkey. Yeah, I can't get mad at people for sharing their political opinions. Like if he wants to, he can. You know he's going to face the backlash from some. Some will agree with him. He's just got such a big platform that when he does it, like everyone hears about it. Darren from Adrossan. Oh, and CBC commentators when the Bruins are playing the Leafs. Simpson and Cuthbert are brutal homers. Nah, I don't really watch those two teams too often. 5 o'clock's too early for me to watch hockey. I'm usually an 8 o'clock guy. How about Graham James? Yeah, I think we could all pretty much agree to that one. A lot of people don't like LeBron's takes on politics, it seems. Prithy says, can J-Lo be considered with her collection of rings? I thought J-Lo was a good stand-up person, and then I'm hearing from people in studio that maybe that might not be the case. So, yeah, if you want to hate on J-Lo, feel free. I'm going to keep my mouth shut on this one. LeBron off the court is mad annoying from Montana to Rice, and no name on this one, Ricky Bobby. Or maybe that's his name. Floyd Mayweather, since he ducks Manny Pacquiao in his prime and never gave him a rematch. Now he's doing these trash exhibition bouts. I can't believe people pay to watch that.
Manny Pacquiao never wanted to do the VADA testing, just as a by the way, the World Anti-Doping Association. The fight was supposed to happen in 2009, 2010, after Floyd fought Juan Manuel Marquez, and I think it was after Manny had fought Miguel Cotto, and Manny wouldn't do the drug testing. So that was why the fight took so long to happen.
Very weird. It was hyped up, though. And Aaron S. says, I can't stand Jared Spurgeon. Personal reasons for that one. But Aaron S. not a fan of Jared Spurgeon as well. That's funny. I don't know him, never met him, but I know a lot of people have like brought his name up and want him here. BJ says, I can't stand Matthew Tkachuk. And finally, Bruins and Jake's fan chat. Hey guys, as a Jake's fan, I hated Steve McNair when he was playing, but from how he died, I feel bad for Aiden so much. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I can see it. And honestly, a lot of times, like when you hate someone in sports, there's a reason why. It's because we're jealous and they make our life hell. Why did I hate Tom Brady? Why did I dislike, I don't know, the Sedins or Naslin and Bertuzzi growing up? Because those Canucks teams would just run the Oilers show. It's sometimes hating on another guy, like we hate them, but in a way it's almost a compliment because we don't hate scrubs for the most part. You got to hate guys who are doing really good things. And I think kind of why LeBron gets a lot of hate because the guy's a winner. I mean, he may chase titles and we might try to downplay what he does. The guy wins. Maybe another reason Derek Jeter got a lot of the hatred playing for the New York Yankees. Let's take a break. When we come back, we are definitely going to talk some sports. We've got the head coach of the Golden Bears hockey team lined up to join us, Ian Herbers. They got a cool schedule coming up here. We'll talk about that and his team this season. Also, we joined by Dave McCarthy of SiriusXM, Jason Strudwick, Spec and DVD. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Right now, though, let's get to an update with Declan Kruger, brought to you by EWELL, supplying the city of champions and all of Alberta with great electrical gear since 1976. Order yours now at ewel.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
And for your Sports 1440 update, we start in the CFL as the Montreal Alouettes have extended Austin Mack through 2028 after he returned to the team earlier last week following an NFL stint with the Atlanta Falcons. Sam Gagner has PTO offers, according to himself in an interview with Jim Matheson, as he eyes an 18th NHL season. And the MLB will get going in a little over an hour and a half's time with the Angels and Tigers, Cubs and Pirates, Astros and Phillies, Royals and Guardians, and Athletics and Reds kicking off the action. Blue Jays also in action today out in Boston as they take on the Red Sox. 5:10 first pitch for that one. Rodriguez going to be on the mound for the Jays. OBJ is set to miss at least the first 4 of the Dolphins games as he has been placed on the physically unable to perform list. And the Kansas City Chiefs have parted ways with wide receiver Kadarius Toney. U.S. Open action earlier today was 11 seeds Stefanos Tsitsipas falling to Thanos Kokkinakis in 4 sets in first-round action. Felix Auger-Aliassime also falling to Czechia's Jacob Menis in the first round in straight sets. First seed Yannick Sinner won his match in straight sets, and later on today, it's going to be Gabriel Diallo taking on Jean Minor at 3:05. Right now, Denis Shapovalov currently trailing 1-0 versus Bostic van de Sandesloop. In the U.S. Open women's action, it was first seed Iga Swiatek getting her first round win. And for the Canadians in action, Leylah Fernandez currently up 3-2 in her match. Bianca Andreescu will take on 5th seed Jasmine Paolini at 5. I'm Declan Kruger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Rule number 41. Never challenge a goose in the Bow Valley. They run this town and they know it. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
You adore your Audi, value your Volkswagen, baby your Beamer. But some of that love fades when repairs take several days and tons of cash for the dealership to do their magic. Let Cochran's Automotive rekindle the flame. They'll professionally repair your import, usually in one day. Audi, BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, Honda, and Toyota. Cochran's Automotive will return her to mint condition. Open at 7 a.m. Let Cochran's Automotive repair your automotive air conditioning before things heat up. Cochran's Automotive, 780-452-5001.
Mr. Rooter goes on a water slide.
Welcome to the Sky Screamer. Please keep your arms crossed over your...
Oh, don't worry about old Mr. Rooter. I'm the last person you have to worry about clogging this pipe.
Actually, it's for your safety.
This plumbing-themed amusement park is amazing. To see the world from inside a giant pipe, it feels like Honey, I Shrunk the Mr. Rooter. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm ready to be flushed.
For a plumbing good time, slide into the DMs of Mr. Rooter.
You turn on the tap, and water comes out. You press the handle and flush the toilet. Living in our modern world, we sometimes take for granted or don't even think about all of the services and conveniences that are around us every day. But GS Construction does. Right under your feet, there's a whole network of underground infrastructure that needs to be built and maintained in order to have these basic services. GS Construction has been laying the groundwork for your community for 50 years. Find out more by going to gsconstruction.ca.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches. We provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact Ted Nakamura at 780-940-0880 or visit silentrides.ca.
Wow, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Maximize your car's lifespan by performing regular maintenance services. Visit Mr. Lube for warranty-approved oil change, scheduled maintenance, and tire service. Open 7 days a week, no appointment needed. Mr. Lube in Spruce Grove is located at the corner of Century Road and McLeod Avenue, or visit MrLube.com.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
for comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
But I hadn't been forgotten, Joe. I've been married a long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? But I hadn't been forgotten, Joe. I've been married a long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe?
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
$5 and get $50 free play at the casino. Use your game sense. Also tonight, it is Lotto Max. Check it out. PlayAlberta.ca. Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, and Donovan Paulson with you here from the EWEL studio in West Edmonton Mall. Right now, we're going to go in the room. Brought to you by Action Electrical. They're the most diversified electrical contractor in Alberta with 4 divisions in projects, service, tag, and solar for commercial or residential. You can contact them today at actionelectrical.net. We bring in the head coach of the University of Alberta Golden Bears hockey team, Ian Herbers. Ian, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Connor. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the show. We do appreciate it. So for those who don't know, maybe give us a little bit of a timeline for the offseason. When do players report and start to get ready for the season? Because, I mean, it's going to be here in no time.
Yeah, we've actually already started our season. We reported last Sunday. I had a quick team meeting. Been skating all last week and the last 2 days here, Monday and today. I had our alumni tournament at Blackhawk Golf Course yesterday afternoon. Beautiful day. Obviously a great golf course, great establishment. Al and the gang there do a fantastic job hosting our group. A really good turnout, great fundraiser for the program. And tomorrow we're off tomorrow morning for Ireland.
I was going to ask you about that. You got 2 games taken on Carleton on, I believe, is it Saturday? And then on Sunday, you've got the Belfast Giants. So how did that come to be?
Stan knows the people over there. Obviously, spent a lot of time coach GM playing over in the UK. The Belfast team, one of their games got canceled. Slovak team, I believe, canceled at the last second on them. So they were scrambling to find some exhibition games for the weekend. The Carleton team, the assistant coach, used to play there. So it worked out. Our two teams are going there. We'll play each other, and then we'll both play the Belfast team, and it'll be an exciting weekend.
So do you guys take off? Is that a flight to Toronto and then straight to Ireland, or you guys got a direct flight going?
Toronto, Dublin.
Right on.
We'll bus up to Belfast and then spend a couple days there, practice day, a couple game days. We play Sunday afternoon, so I believe we leave there Sunday, get back to Dublin, and we'll spend a full day Monday in Dublin, enjoy the sights in the town, and get to know a little bit of the culture, and head home Tuesday.
So going into this season, a couple familiar names committing to the program. You got Mark as well as Ty Nash, a couple Oil Kings, and a few other players coming in from the WHL. What did you make of this year's class of commitments, and how do they factor into the lineup this season? What kind of roles are they going to be expecting?
No, we went hard at it in the spring to bring in a whole big crop of recruits. At one point, we had 15 guys committed and coming to the program. There's a number of the guys that have signed pro deals and are going to give pro an opportunity to start with. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully it works out well for them and they get the opportunities they want. If not, great chance to have them back here and for them to keep developing. Otherwise, like you said, we've had Lajoie come join us at the back end, Popovich up front, Lamanna up front. We've had LaVenture, Nash as well, Carmichael at the back end. So we've got a good group. Palmer in goal. So we brought in a couple goalies, 3 or 4 defensemen, 5, 6 forwards. Right now we're just experimenting with everything. We're still early in the process. We'll get these games in Belfast. I'll mix and match some lineups. Everybody will get a chance to play a little power play, penalty kill time, and it'll be a process. You know, we start the last week here and just trying different combinations, see where guys would fit, see who would work well together. First of all, seeing what kind of shape they came in, and we had good fitness results on and off the ice that Monday. So excited where we're at right now. Obviously, we've got a long way to go. But excited where we are with the people that have come in.
Ian Herbers, head coach of the Golden Bears hockey team, joining us here on Sports 1440. It is the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley sitting in for Jason. Now, I know you've been with this team for quite a while now. How much has the Can West division just grown? Because, I mean, I think a lot of the older crowd here can remember, myself included, kind of used to be just a walkthrough for the Golden Bears. They would dominate the conference, but it's really improved the last couple of years here.
Yeah, and it's better for everybody. And like you said, it used to be us, and then maybe Saskatchewan would be pushing us and challenging us every once in a while, Calgary. But other than that, it was not that great for development, not that great for the league. But now Calgary's been stable. They've had their alumni program has stepped up, which has made them better. Mount Royal's had a few good years now. Saskatchewan's always tough. And UBC's done a good job lately. So they're doing a few different things for their school to bring in the people. And the players, and it makes our league competitive. And I also think Zach Daly and McEwen's did a fantastic job as well. So they always push us and challenge us every time we play them. It's a good game. So the league's a lot better. It makes us better. It forces us to change, try some different things, make sure we're bringing in the right people for our program, and realize that you just can't show up every night. You've got to go out and do the work and do the work ahead of time.
Yeah, you mentioned UBC. I mean, Sven Butenschon, I think, running the program now out there.
Correct.
Yeah. He's done a fantastic job turning things around. Calgary win the league before that. The year previously was the University of Alberta. So for those people that maybe aren't too familiar, want to get out to the Drake this year, is there a game that stands out to you on the schedule, a particular rival maybe?
Well, everybody comes and plays their best games against us. They want to beat us. So every night we're out, it's a challenge and a push. We can't take a night off or we end up on the wrong side of the scoreboard. So we want to make sure we're playing. But we usually, the Saskatchewan games, this year we play them 6 times in league play. 4 of those games are here at the Clare Drake. I can't remember those dates exactly, but they're always good games. We got Mount Royal when we get back from Ireland. We'll play them in preseason. After that, we got McEwen for the home and home on the weekend, and after that, it's Calgary home and home. And then to finish our preseason schedule at the end of September, we're going to Cold Lake, and we're going to play 2 games against University of Saskatchewan there. We did it last year, and the community and the people and the businesses in Cold Lake did a fantastic job supporting us. And it was a great atmosphere and environment for our players. So we booked it again this year early, and after that, we take off into league play. And with us only playing 28 league games, every game's important. Separating it's usually 1 point between first and second, third and fourth. So every point's important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, just for the fans that might want to get out there, haven't been Friday, Saturday night out at the Drake, you can't beat it. One of the best hockey experiences you are going to get. Now, just a couple more for you, Ian, here. Appreciate you joining us on the show. We talked about the competitiveness on the ice, and in the last few years, has that made it tougher to recruit these kids coming in from the WHL or whatever league it might be, just because now it's not just Alberta where you go to win championships? There's lots of other options.
I think the bigger challenge is there's more NHL teams, more American Hockey League teams, more East Coast League teams. Obviously, the teams over in Europe as well. So probably over the last 3 or 4 years, we've lost most of our guys signing pro deals. And for the previous couple of years, the teams were signing them to 2-year American Hockey League deals, which really put a damper on our recruiting process. We haven't seen that as much this year. There's been a lot of 1-year American League offers, so I think which has increased our numbers in recruiting numbers this year. So that was probably the biggest challenge for us. Obviously, we'll lose some to other schools. It's the right fit for them. I know one player we were talking to, he ended up going to a different program because his grandparents lived in that city, and his grandma would be heartbroken if he didn't come live with her. And then the other one had a girlfriend at the other school, and so he wasn't going to leave her. And a lot of, flack from her about coming to that school. So it's different reasons why, but the biggest thing probably was the amount of pro teams now.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And I guess, if you're getting a 2-year deal, that's going to be a little bit of a tough one to say no to. Well, Ian, thanks so much for doing this. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing how you guys do in Belfast over the weekend. Safe travels, and I'm sure we'll get you on again during the season.
Great. Thank you.
There you go. Ian Harbers, head coach of the Golden Bears. It's going to be interesting. Like that. How cool is that? Think of like traditional hockey hotbeds. You're probably not thinking the SSE Arena in Belfast, but they're going to start off the exhibition season on conference taking on Carleton. Then they have a good little game against the Belfast Giants. As he mentioned, you got MRU, Mount Royal University down in Calgary, home and home, coming up on the 6th and the 7th. So the Golden Bears will be in full swing in no time. Can't wait for it. Like I said, the Drake's always a good time. Football games are always awesome. One thing I want to get out to more is going down to the Saville Center, whether it's basketball or volleyball. Just go down there and watch a couple games, because two sports, they're a lot of fun to watch. And for volleyball, I think you have to be there to really understand how hard that ball is flying. It is getting whipped around there. A lot of fun. And of course, here on Sports 1440, we'll have a lot of University of Alberta Golden Bears to talk, and we'll make some Nate and Grant McCune as well, trying to get some love to the local teams here on your Sports Talk dial. Still to come on the show today, Dave McCarthy of Sirius XM. We'll hear from Jason Strudwick. We've got Spec, and also Derek Van Diest of NHL.com. He just did a little traveling himself. We'll talk about that when he joins us at about 5:20 today. But coming up next, we will be joined by Wanye Gretz of Oilers Nation. You are watching and listening to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, as well as the Oilers Nation YouTube, Facebook, and X streams. If you're watching on Instagram or want to, check us out at Sports 1440. Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, Donovan Paulson with you here on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to
call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
What's cracking at Cattail Crossing? Every Friday after 4 p.m., it's 9 and Dine Fridays. Includes golf for two with a power cart at Cattail Crossing and a $50 food voucher at Out of Bounds Restaurant. Only $119.99. Tea times can be booked at cattailcrossing.ca.
Hey Leduc, it's me, Grant Fedork from Leading Edge Physiotherapy. What you might not know is that I started practicing physio here in Leduc more than 23 years ago. In those years since, I haven't forgotten the kind and welcoming people that trusted me then. Feels great to be back. But I know we have to live up to our promise, and that's to live up to our name. This means bringing a leading-edge focus on our environments, technology, communities, and the people who will care for you, like Graham Raymond and Amanda McIsaac, two locals who want to make a difference in your life. We're now open in Leduc. Learn more about us at leadingedgephysio.com.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
The Toronto Blue Jays are on Sports 1440. Every weekend, catch all the action with play-by-play announcer Ben Schulman. The Blue Jays, this Saturday and Sunday on Sports 1440. Edmonton's home for all things sports.
Be melon jolly, not melancholy. Summer is ripe for fun, and some Booster Juice bestsellers are back in season. Watermelon smoothies, including the refreshing Watermelon Wave, a berry burst of strawberries, raspberries, pomegranate, and vanilla frozen yogurt, and fan favorite, Watermelon Explosion, a refreshing burst of bananas, mangoes, and pineapple, both made with watermelon sorbet and probiotic yogurt. All of the watermelon, none of the seeds. Visit a Booster Juice near you today or download the Booster Rewards app.
So you've decided you want to start hiking. Nobody would say, I'll just wear my kids' flip-flops until I have more experience. The first thing you do is buy the right shoe size and style to fit you. Same with golf. You can't just buy clubs off the rack. They won't be the right size or style for you. Only Fitted Golf works with you to identify your swing style and then matches your clubs exactly to that swing. Check out our Instagram and YouTube channel to see the success others have with clubs fit to their swing. Fitted Golf, where we continue to prove it's your clubs.
Buying a vehicle at Sherwood Honda comes with 0% intimidation. Seriously, they want you to feel comfortable. So ask anything. There are no dumb questions. How does this car compare to that truck? Ask it. Could the payment be this much instead? Feel free to ask. At Sherwood Honda, you can ask anything without fear of judgment. Like, do you folks have a jingle? Okay, a few dumb questions. And if you have questions about car buying, it sure would make sense to ask Sherwood Honda.
What's new at Vision RV? Too much to tell you in 30 seconds, but I'll do my best. Larry Ricci here. And at Vision RV, the beautiful brand new 2024s have arrived. Have they ever? Ultra-modern designs, unparalleled comfort, and the technology out of this world. We also have a great selection of pre-owned units priced to move today. So why not bring your family and get to know the Vision family? We're open 7 days a week, just south of the Yellowhead on Highway 60.
YouTube and Facebook pages. Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, Donovan Paulson with you here. This show brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. We bring in Wanye Gretz of Oilers Nation. We're having the last dance here.
Oh boy.
We don't know when this crew is going to be back, but we were told we need to do it one more time. So I said, Wanye, we got to extend the invite.
Oh, our crew.
Our crew.
Oh, I thought you meant you were talking about the documentary Last Dance.
Well, it's like that.
It is.
Because then remember, like Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams did their last dance, their last season together. Now this could be ours.
Why? What happened? Where'd Gregor go again? What's going on these big radio stars?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. We were talking about it, and he told me he needed the day off for something, and then my mind must have blanked, and then he said, like, kind of weird timing, but oh well.
All we need to do is scrape that Jason Gregor sticker off that window, Connor. And it's the whatever we want to call ourselves show.
And then legally
change the lock. But Gregor issues paychecks. That might create a problem.
Yep.
But that's a problem for week 2 of the coup.
No problem right
now. Or in
now.
week 3.
Well, he'll be back tomorrow. Some people are texting in like, where's Gregor? He just got back. Well, I don't know. But he'll be back tomorrow. That's what I can say. Text coming in here, 1-833-401-1440. We were talking about athletes we hate the most. Wanye, we'll get to that in a second. But right now, we want to go around the NHL.
Let's do it.
With our good friend Dave McCarthy of Sirius XM Around the NHL is brought to you by The Big Arch, our biggest burger at McDonald's. It includes 2 quarter-pound, 100% Canadian beef patties, 3 slices of white processed cheese, crispy onions, pickles, lettuce, and a new tangy and delicious Big Arch sauce only at McDonald's. I'm telling you, Brandon, Douglas, and I were getting these liners ready. We print them out. As he's reading it, he says, I got to get one. We walked to McDonald's in the mall. He got one. He loved it. As he's eating it, Troy, our engineer, peeks his head around the corner and says, is that the Big Arch? Best burger I've ever had. Not lying to you. This is exactly how it happened. So go check it out at McDonald's. Dave McCarthy of Sirius XM NHL joins us. Dave, good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm good. Was it that Gregor found out that I was on today and he's like, I'm not ready for him yet. I got to take another day off.
I wish I knew. I don't think that's the case, though, because I know he loves hopping on your show and he loves when you join us here. We all left Avignon here, Dave. My question for you. You just had Ian Herbers on the show, head coach of the U of A Golden Bears hockey team.
Mm-hmm.
In Edmonton, we're very lucky. We got Golden Bears. We got the Oil Kings. We've got St. Albert. We've got the Crusaders in Sherwood Park. Lots of different levels of hockey outside of the Maple Leafs. On a random Friday night in December, where is Dave McCarthy going to watch some hockey?
Well, if I'm not at the Maple Leaf game, I'm not going to watch hockey. I'll put it that way.
That's it? Just NHL?
No, it's just that you get so few nights off, few and far between, especially in December around Christmas time. I'm not seeking out additional hockey. That's for sure. But on a Friday night in January, I find myself out somewhere. Look, when I used to work for the St. Mike's Buzzards, the Junior A team here in the city at Bathurst and St. Clair, anybody who's familiar with Toronto, they know about the old St. Mike's barn. We'd play every Friday night at home generally, and it's pretty good hockey. A lot of guys have come out of that program over the years, dating back to when I was there. Brendan Smith, Riley Smith, Connor Brown, Jake Evans with Montreal has been through that program. Mitch Marner's taken a peek there as an AP. Max Domi's taken a peek there. So, there have been a lot of guys that have come through it that have now gone on to prominence. So if you want to see tomorrow's stars today, you can't go wrong going to a Buzzards game on a Friday night.
That's the level. Okay, one more question before we really dive into the NHL. And this was brought up by our producer Declan today, and we were talking about athletes you hate, may even love to hate. So you grew up in the Toronto area, correct?
Yeah.
So you've got to have a few rivalries, some players that you dislike. Who would top your list? And feel free to give me a couple if there are a couple. Because we got like Todd Bertuzzi, Matthew Tkachuk, Theo Fleury, Darian Hatcher, Modano. Like, what is it for a guy like you, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, I guess back in the day, there was a big rivalry growing up a Leafs fan. Like, I'm not going to shy away from that. I grew up in Toronto. I like hockey. What do you think? I wasn't a Leaf fan? Come on, get on with yourself, right? Of course I was. Now I speak the truth, but then I was a Leaf fan. So it was the type of thing where anyone with the Senators, you kind of had a bit of an issue with, but the Leafs beat the Senators every year in the playoffs. So that not anybody you could really hate. I guess guys on the Devils who punted the Leafs a couple of times. There's like Bobby Holik, Marty Brodeur, guys on the Flyers, like John LeClaire. It was always good that I couldn't find a way to beat them when it mattered most. So yeah, I don't have too many guys that I just detest, because I guess even though they may beat your team, I have an appreciation for what guys who are good at their craft can do well. And if that's to get under the other team's skin and to provoke and to ultimately beat them, I guess I have a bit of a respect for that. Either that or it takes a lot to get me to hate you. I don't know.
I feel like the older we get too, like the childhood hate turns into respect. At least that's the case for me with some of the guys I grew up disliking. We're joined by Dave McCarthy here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz with you now. Dave, we got a text in here from Carmen. He says he's getting a little bit nervous about Leon Draisaitl and the contract not being signed. We've heard there might be a little difference in the AAV. When do you think we see this contract getting done, and what do you think the numbers could look like for Leon Draisaitl, an extension with the Oilers?
It's going to be more than what Connor's making right now. Let's not kid ourselves. How much more is the question? I would think it's going to be more than what Austin Matthews is making right now, which is 13.25. I think Leon Draisaitl's at the level where he has earned the right to be the highest paid player in the game for a period of time. He's that good. And then McDavid will surpass him again in a year's time. So look, I'm thinking somewhere in the neighborhood of 13.26 and 13.5 a year should get it done. And I would think at this point, look, Matthews is a guy that does it a little bit differently, and he signed a shorter term deal. Does Draisaitl take a longer term deal? I mean, he was underpaid, let's be honest, in the contract he's at right now. You sign a shorter term deal. Can he cash in again? How old is he right now? Is he 27 years of age? 27 years of age, looking at a 28. 28. So he'll turn actually 29 on October the 27th. So, yeah, see, that's kind of why I think it's going to be a longer term deal, because if he takes a 4-year deal, by that time he's 33. That's starting to get on in years to really sign a long-term big ticket at that point. As good as Draisaitl is, will he be the same guy at 33 as he is at 28, 29? Probably not. And are you going to want to give him more than you'd give him on a short-term deal, 4-year deal, 13.5? You give him more than that times 8 at 33? Probably not, right? So I would think it's going to be a 7-8-year deal. Look, they're posturing right now, right? Of course he's asking for more, and they're going to probably arrive in the middle. And I think we have a pretty good idea that it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 13.5. A little bit more than Matthews. I think if he takes significantly more than that, then you start to put that spotlight on yourself as the guy who needs everything, right? And then now that ties the hands of the team, can't build out around him, all that. But I think there's a respect and there is an understanding that, like I said, he's earned the right to be the highest paid player in the game, and I expect him to be, for a period of time, slightly above what Matthews is getting right now.
Dave McCarthy of SiriusXM joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz sitting in, and Frank Saravalli from Daily Faceoff putting it out there that the Edmonton Oilers could be looking at a potential trade rather than a PTO route. If you look at the Oilers' right side, people might get why. Bouchard, Emberson, Troy Stetcher, potentially some questions there on the blue line. And one of the names that was brought up on Twitter, and it's been circulating, we've had a few texts come in, is Dante Fabro of the the Nashville Predators. Mind is drifting. What do you think of Fabro? Would he be someone you'd look to acquire?
Yeah, I think he'd be an upgrade on what they have right now. He's a pretty stable guy in Nashville. I think he's reached his ceiling. I think you kind of know what you're going to get with Dante Fabro, but that's okay. Like, predictability is what Edmonton is after right now. The Oilers are in the predictability game when they're filling roles on the back end. I don't think he's going to be a guy that produces a ton of offense, but that's fine. They're not looking for him to do that. He's big as long as he plays with a degree of physicality and is consistent. Perhaps a guy that you can use to kill some penalties. I think there would be a fit there because he would be an improvement upon what the Oilers have right now. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's coming up on that time where he's going to be a free agent sooner rather than later. So it gives the Oilers a bit of flexibility, right, when it comes to beyond this year. I'm just looking up his contract. I had it at the front of my mind here the other day. As I stall for time here, he's got a year left on this deal at 2.5, right? So that kind of fits in the window of what they were, more or less, maybe a little bit more, but what they were kind of hoping to pay Philip Broberg. And then his money disappears by the time Leon's money kicks in, and Evan Bouchard is going to need money. Edmonton's in this year business, and he can help them this year, and then it allows them flexibility in years to come, which is what the Oilers need to maintain.
Sam Gagner apparently does have some PTO offers, looking to play number 18 when it comes to seasons in the NHL. What can Sam Gagner offer a team at this point, Dave?
I think he's a guy that can, he's an effective 13th forward, I think, right? Like he's not you don't want a young guy on your roster that otherwise could be in the American Hockey League playing every night in big minutes, serving as your 13th forward when he's in the lineup some nights and not in the lineup other nights, and is inexperienced. That doesn't benefit him well. It doesn't benefit the team well. Sam Gagner knows what he is at this point in his career. And I think he's a guy that if you go through a rash of injuries, underperformance, whatever it is, you can plug him in, even in a middle six role, right? Maybe even a little bit on the second power play. And he can help out. He can play that role effectively for 8 or 10 games, whatever it might be. And then you get healthy, you sit him out. He's a good teammate. He's not bitching and moaning and whining, complaining. In fact, he's leading, I would expect, and helping the young guys out. So, to me, I think you could do a lot worse than Sam Gagner as a 13th forward, but he's got to prove that he can still play a lick at the NHL level. Like if he's just 2 steps behind the pace in training camp and all that, you can't just sign him for nostalgia. But if he can play in spot duty, yeah, I'd look into it because, I think I'll put it this way. I love the guy in my room, whether or not he can play. But nowadays, as we know in a cap world, you got to be able to play a little bit.
Dave, one more question for you. What is the Nick Robertson situation looking like for the Leafs? I know there was a trade request and RFA right now. What's the plan for Nick Robertson out in Toronto?
Well, he's maintained a desire for a change of scenery, which to an extent I understand, but to an extent I don't. I get the fact that he's frustrated in being unable to gain a consistent foothold at the NHL level. But up until last year, his biggest issue was that he was always unavailable. He was constantly hurt. So, of course, you're going to struggle to gain a consistent position at the NHL level. Last year, he was healthy for most of the year, but the Leafs were doing a tightrope all year long, trying to navigate the salary cap, and he had the ability to move up and down from the NHL to the American Hockey League at times. And then they had guys just that, quite frankly, were above him on the depth chart for the type of role that Sheldon Keefe was looking to have filled. But to his credit, when he came in the lineup, it always seemed like he would score, and he was relatively productive in a limited amount of minutes, to the point where Sheldon always seemed to say, like, man, it seems like every time I put him in the lineup, he scores. But, as I said, you probably weren't going to play him on the top 2 lines last year with Bertuzzi and Domi, and in that third line role, can he check? Well, that's not really his strong suit, so they were looking for somebody else. So I get that. I get his frustration, and we're at a position nowadays where young guys, he's like not super young anymore, right? He's 23. They want to get to the point where they can build a resume and be in a position to sign a decent ticket. And if he's going to fight for ice time again this year in Toronto, I understand that he wants to go elsewhere with a better opportunity. But in saying all that, while he may want to change the scenery, I think you can look at it and say the scene is the same, but all the plants in the garden are different, right? Like the head coach is different. There are some guys that have moved out. Bertuzzi, there is opportunity. It is ripe with opportunity, Connor, for a guy like Nick Robertson. The manager, Brad Treliving, has even said, we would love a guy. We can use a guy like Nick Robertson this year. So, look, it's not going to be given to you no matter where you go. And if you want to go to some sad sack team and just be gifted a top 6 role, then I guess, all power to you. But despite the opportunity, are you really in a good position to have success if you're playing with a bunch of stiffs, right? You have to earn it. So go out in training camp, have a good camp, earn it. And I think he would get some reasonable minutes in Toronto this year. I see opportunity there's a need for a guy like Nick this year now at this point in his career with the way their roster is. It would I think behoove him if he would reconsider and return to Toronto. But at this point, he still seems to want a change of scenery and he's unsigned. So we'll see if something transpires there.
Guess we will wait and see how it goes. Dave, thanks so much for doing this today. Really appreciate it. And we'll talk to you next week with Gregor.
Okay. Thanks, boys.
There you go. Dave McCarthy, Sirius XM NHL host, joins us every Tuesday around 3:20 right here on the Jason Gregor Show around the NHL, brought to you by the new Big Arch, only at McDonald's. Someone texted in saying, is that a spinoff of the Arch Deluxe? Wanye, were you an Arch Deluxe guy?
Well, I remember the Arch Deluxe. I always fall in love with failed McDonald's products. Not to say that this one fails or McDonald's would fail. They're fantastic. But like, remember pizza? Remember McPizza?
No.
I was its biggest fan.
I want it back.
I ate it here at the mall once as a child. Do you remember the McDLT?
No.
A burger that came in 2 boxes, so it stayed so fresh.
Like, I remember it, but I was loyal to cheeseburgers and then nuggets as a kid.
Do you remember the Arch Deluxe?
What we're talking about right now?
Is that what it's called again?
No. It is the Big Arch. But
There it
someone's
is.
asking if it's a spin-off of the Arch.
Well, that's
Deluxe.
what I'm thinking, right? Like, these are all delicious hamburgers, and McDonald's is known to tease us and snatch them up.
It was a quarter-pounder spin-off on a potato flour sesame bun topped with a circular piece of peppered bacon, leaf lettuce, tomato, American cheese, onions, ketchup, Dijonnaise.
So good.
Dijonnaise? Well, there might be some similarities then. But Brandon had it today, and it looked very good.
This is my point, is that like McDonald's doesn't make mistakes. Everything they bring out is delicious.
Is that girl on YouTube behind me?
I think so.
She's fixing her hair, and she's right behind me. I thought she was just trying to wave, but
I thought she was dancing.
She's like right over my shoulder. If you saw her on YouTube, congratulations. People do that a lot. They use our glass windows to fix their hair, fix whatever they might want to. If they go next door to K97, it's like basically a mirror, but they use ours, which is see-through.
They don't have time, Connor. It's 2024. People are very good looking. They have to check their look.
Oh, yeah. She's straight up on the YouTube. That's awesome.
That's good stuff.
Clip it. We'll take a break. When we come back, we get to the Oil Report. Wanye, there's a lot of texts coming in here about those Edmonton Oilers. Lots of questions about them. Some potential defensemen. If, like Frank Saravalli says, a trade might be in the works. We'll throw out some of those names when we come back. Still to get to on the show, we will be joined by Struddy. Also, Spec. We'll hear from our good friend Derek Van Diest. And just confirming, Natalie Spala of 7 News out in D.C. will join us. Talk some Washington Commanders. We'll squeeze her in just after 4 o'clock. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, as well as Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Bacon or sausage and egg McMuffin? It's a delicious dilemma. But what if you didn't have to choose? The Mighty McMuffin is back with bacon and sausage. Mighty McMuffin, mighty impressive. For a limited time at participating McDonald's in Canada.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
for comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the words.
Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time.
You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance.
Your best time of day is noodle time.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Rule number 12, not spending the afternoon tubing on the Pembina? Next, you're going to tell us you don't wear flannel. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days, because we all know they won't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
The only thing as hot as the weather this summer is a night out at On the Rocks. Every weekend, enjoy live music and top DJs spinning your favorite tracks. The dance floor is the place to be. Celebrating a birthday or stagette? Let OTR take the work out of the planning for you. Book your party online at ontherocksedmonton.com. Join OTR every evening from 4 p.m. for a great atmosphere and good company. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Grab your Good Vibe Drive and head to On the Rocks, corner of Jasper Ave and 118th Street.
For over 65 years, Denham Ford has delivered the customer service and value that keeps Albertans moving. And when it comes to value, nothing beats an employee price. For a limited time, pay what Ford employees pay during the factory-authorized employee pricing event. You'll see real invoice pricing, and you know you'll get the best deal guaranteed. It's Ford employee pricing on for a limited time where cars always cost less. Denham Ford in Wetaskiwin or at denhamford.ca.
If you've ever restored a classic car or seen one, you smile because you know what it took to get that beauty looking pristine. The same is true for men who restore their hair. Nothing but smiles for miles. Patients from all over Canada travel to see me, Dr. Vance Elliott, to have their hair loss treated and remedied. I've been helping people for 28 years. My practice is outfitted with the most innovative and latest hair transplant techniques and technology. And I do it myself. Contact us at drvanceelliott.com.
Forties Instagram page. Go check it out. Give us a like. Give us a follow. We would appreciate that. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz, Declan Kruger, Donovan Paulson with you in the EWL studios. The Jason Gregor Show is brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Talking about the Oilers Nation golf tournament.
It's going to be a blast.
I'm looking at the temp, high of 22.
All you need.
That's perfect. Perfect golf weather. I think I actually might be hosting again.
Really?
I think so, because the Gregor's on a hole.
Okay.
So I think I actually might be doing this one more time.
Interesting. Even the afterwards, like the Gregor's grad speech, that's got to go to the big man JG in the clubhouse.
There's a speech?
He makes a speech every tournament.
Oh, then he has to do it.
Didn't you do it last year?
I would assume so.
Did you host last year?
I don't know. No, I didn't. No, we weren't even a thing yet.
Interesting.
September
I thought you just
5th.
said you hosted again.
Well, I'm hosting now.
Oh,
and
I
then
see.
Gregor will come in Wednesday, Thursday, and then I'll host again.
Oh, the show.
I might even be on location.
Oh.
Let me out. Let me out of this cage.
Every year, our Jason makes a speech about Gregor's grads, and it's so funny because he loves Gregor's grads so much. And he comes to this tournament and he starts talking about the grads, and he wells up with emotion because he cares so much. And we cruelly laugh every year. We say, "Look at Gregor caring about stuff."
You probably tear up a little bit with him.
Not my grads. I cheer for his grads, but I don't feel it.
If you had a charity, I think it'd be called Wanye's Wonders.
What do they do, little angels?
Yeah, they're just kids that need help.
Wanye's Angels take gifted children who want to go evil and give them the support they need to truly cause some carnage.
That's it.
Yep.
Let's get to the oil report.
Let's do it.
Brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton, the Midsummer event is on now. You can lease a new Volvo 2024 XC90 for 0% at Canada's #1 Volvo dealership, volvocarsedmonton.com. Of course, the name was kind of thrown out there with Frank Saravalli. I shouldn't say the name, no name, but the chance that the Oilers could make a trade, bringing in a defenseman rather than go the PTO route. So to do that, someone's got to leave or draft picks. But I think that would be the question, who might you trade? But Adante Fabro was a name that was brought up by a few people. Seen some other names as well. And I don't know, Wanye, for you, if there's someone you're going to go out there and trade for, does anyone come to mind that you'd like to see? And it's got to be a realistic option, right? It can't be Victor Hedman. Obviously, we'd love to see him in oil country. I think we could all agree, but that's not going to happen. Is there anyone for you that comes to mind?
Well, one of the things about working at the Nation in the Frank Saravalli era, which is very crazy, is that I've tried to maintain discipline and not bother him directly when he says stuff. It's very unprofessional. Every time you mention the Oilers, if someone's texting you from Edmonton, what do you mean by that? But I will text Bag Milk because I have no compulsion of bugging him. So when Frank came out and said that, what did he say? What was the quote? Like, there's something significant they're looking at doing or something. Like, it seems pretty imminent in the quote.
I'll get the exact quote for you in a second.
And I messaged Bag Milk and I said, what's going on? Is there actually something here? Is this just fluff during silly season? Because sometimes you like to make stuff up. He said, no, Frank actually knows of something that might pop off.
So Frank will be on every Tuesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday with Kevin Karras in the hockey season. But down the dial, I believe he said there are other things Edmonton is looking at, including a potential trade that could shake things up a little bit more than just the PTO route. So we wouldn't have to wait till training camp. It would be, I would assume, sooner than later. Maybe the Oilers have to decide, pull the trigger. They got some draft picks recouped from the players that left. So maybe we see something happen. I don't know who people might want. Tony DeAngelo was a name people threw out there as a guy you might want to look at. I don't know if, hasn't been the best with his teams that he's been at. And then does he fit the role for the Oilers? I don't know. I think he still can play in the NHL, but I don't know if it's with Edmonton.
I just don't want us to go back to the jar of souls and grab old Oilers and bring them back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean, Tyson Berry? I love a chili one, his new beer or seltzer, whatever it is. I love one just like the next guy, but not on the ice, Tyson.
Rick says, if you're Leon, why not take a one-time team discount at $12 million for 1 year? Then you and McDavid can sign the same time in the $14.5 to $15 million range. This way you can open up the window for a cup run next year and give the cap flexibility to the team. Then when the cap goes up to $95 to $100 million, $15 million isn't so bad. From Rick. It'd be nice to see. I just don't see it happening. These guys want to lock in. They want to get the bag and make it official. So, Rick, I love that idea. I just don't know how realistic it is. Fabro is 6 feet 190. Big question mark. And Reek is 6 feet 195. He's big too. They're not tiny, I suppose. Lance said Gregor did do a speech last year. He cried. So I guess that's one thing you might be able to look forward to.
Who said that?
Lance. And you.
It's a secret. I didn't say he cried. I said he's verklempt.
Oh.
I kept that as a secret, Lance. That's a secret Easter egg for people who go to the tournament. Well, the cat's out of the bag. Gregor cries every year at the tournament.
Well, it's out there now. We're also getting a lot of people saying they missed the big extra.
Yes.
I wish they'd bring that one back.
Did anyone mention McPizza?
No, but that's one I'd love to try. Like I said, I was a big fan of just kind of the simplicity of the cheeseburger or the nuggets as a kid in my Happy Meal. And I remember my parents getting the McPizza, but I never did. I wasn't a big pizza guy till I turned about 12 years old. So
then what happened?
I became a big pizza guy.
Was there a specific day?
No. Just gradually this stuff is good. This stuff slaps. And then I would, have pizza more and more. Ubo Rob says they only trade CC because they will upgrade. I have to wait and see on that one. McRib is getting some love in here.
Oof.
It passes through your body. Richard, just on the talking about players that we dislike. Rugnet Odor. Haven't heard that name yet.
Because it's not real?
He was hateable.
Who's that?
He one-punched Jose Batista. Boom. caught him with a good shot.
Oh,
Odor with the Rangers.
Baseball players.
Now, who? Our first order, our hour was full of hate, talking about players we hated growing up. But I say that we don't hate scrubs. You hate them because they're probably pretty good. So for you, who are at the top of the list?
There are 3 players that hate's a strong word, but I really don't like Chris Pronger.
Fair.
I know he's graced these offices and sat in front of an Oilers Nation board of logos.
Just over there, yeah.
It's too much. I also don't like Jack Eichel. I think he's got one of those faces you just want to punch. And when he came to Vegas, remember he came to Vegas and he drove in a van in the casino and they got out and there was like Centurion Golden Knights waiting for him. Do you ever see that footage?
I think so, yeah.
And he's just like super disinterested and walked in like he was checking into a Motel 8.
In Vegas,
as he's the new Golden Knight. No.
Then who else?
I love / hate the Tkachuk brothers. I hate them because I'm a hater. Equally, both of them. Matthew, especially now that he's a Stanley Cup winner, rather. I would love either of them to be Oilers. Would you take a Tkachuk in a trade that made sense?
In a second.
Yeah, either or?
You didn't even have to make sense.
Even
just
Keith.
do it.
I'd take Keith if we had to in 2024.
Keith gets you the other 2, or even just one, I would do it. Great hockey players. Dirk says Trevor Zegras.
Yeah.
Overrated. Nick Kyprios. Hey, we had Kipper on the show. Good guy.
I feel no animosity for Kyprios because of how his career ended when Vandenbush punched him through a wormhole into an alternate dimension. Do you remember that?
No.
Nick Kyprios' last shift.
Was it with the Rangers?
And he hits the ice and there's just like blood everywhere. Oh. Oof. Kipper.
Shay from Hamilton says, hey, Cons. Hey, Declan. Back in the day, Ricky Ray, the Esks days, couldn't stand Davis Sanchez with the Als. Currently, Jake Paul. Can't do it. Shay in Hamilton. Davis Sanchez was a Charger. He was also a member of the Esks and the Als. Cornerback. He would talk. Now he's on TSN. Does a good job on the panel. But he fit the mold. Cortland Finnegan. There's another one.
What?
Declan, you remember Finnegan.
Oh, yeah.
With the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, yeah. Fighting corner. Andre Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Andre Johnson fought him, I think everybody became a fan of Andre Johnson.
Yeah, he was a rat for sure.
Little guy would talk, effective for sure. But we did not like old Cortland. 1-833-401-1440. So here's a question for you, Wanye.
Mm-hmm.
From Tyler. He says, how many fantasy draft tickets did Wanye buy? Don't tell me he hates charity. For Fantasy Frenzy, we're doing a fantasy league.
Okay.
There can only be 12 teams.
Sure.
One team will be the Fantasy Frenzy team. That's Brandon and myself. We're going to do a draw to participate in our league. So you can buy tickets at $20 a piece.
To get into
the draw. So you could buy one ticket for $20. Your odds aren't great. You could buy 10 tickets for $200. Increase your odds. Winner will get a portion of that money and maybe some swag that we can get together. The real winner will be the Ben Stelter Foundation. We're going to donate the rest of the money to that. So that is what Tyler P is asking you. Are you in for some fantasy football, or do you hate charity?
I do not hate charity, Tyler P. Well said. But here's the thing. Your old pal Wanye, I don't know that many football guys. So if I won, could I hand my place off to somebody more deserving?
Yeah. You could.
Well, then, yeah, I'll do it.
All right. Well, if you want to do that, you can text in and let us know. Or you just e-transfer Connor at sports1440.ca. I've compiled the list. I've got it outside there of all the people who've put money in. And you do it in $20 increments. I'll do the math from there.
You count me in.
Wanye's in. You could play Wanye's team in fantasy football.
But I don't know enough to participate, so I'd have to hand it off to a proxy.
That's fair. Okay. You could hire someone.
Well, there's many more deserving people than me, but I do love the Ben Stelter Foundation.
I knew you did.
And what if I won prizes and it was Oodle Noodle? Then what would happen?
You get Oodle Noodle.
There's more deserving people of Oodle Noodle prizes than me.
We pass those on to the other people then.
True.
Maybe that's like a participation prize.
Count me in.
Wanye's in. If you want to be in, text in 1-833-401-1440. We'll get you more information. Let's take a break. When we come back, you know what we're going to do? We're going to talk some NFL football. Washington Commanders, interesting offseason. They do bring in Austin Eckler. They draft Jaden Daniels out of LSU. Natalie Spala of 7 News in DC will join us next to talk about that and a whole lot more. But first, let's get to a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. Stay cool all summer at legacyheating.ca. Here is Declan Kruger.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
And for your Sports 1440 update, CFL news: the Montreal Alouettes have extended Austin Mack through 2028 after he rejoined the club earlier last week following a stint with the Atlanta Falcons in the NFL. Sam Gagner has PTO offers, according to him in an interview with Jim Matheson, as he eyes his 18th NHL season. MLB set to get going this hour will be the Angels and Tigers, Cubs and Pirates, Astros and Phillies, Royals and Guardians, and Athletics and Reds kicking off the action. Blue Jays in action as well as they take on the Red Sox in Boston. 5:10 first pitch for that one. Rodriguez on the mound for the Jays. Kadarius Toney has been cut by the Kansas City Chiefs, while the Dolphins have placed OBJ on the PUP list, and he will miss at least the first 4 games. In the U.S. Open, Denis Shapovalov currently trailing 2-0 3-2 in the third to the Netherlands' Botic van Vendenschloop. Felix Auger-Aliassime also dropped his first-round match to Czechia's Jakob Menet. And in the women's draw, Lilian Fernandez did win her first set. Bianca Andreescu in action at 5 as she takes on 5th seed Jasmine Paolini. Coming up in hour number 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by Natalie Spala of 7 News DC, Jason Strudwick for Struz On, and Ask 5 Questions. I'm Declan Kruger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
1440 Stingray Radio Station. CHJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
The road lays ahead. Your potential destinations are endless. Volvo Cars Edmonton gives you choice to match. Right now, lease a new 2024 Volvo XC90 from 0% for qualifying loyal customers, or save $7,500 on all new 2024 XC60 Recharge plug-in hybrid models. All demo vehicles come with a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty. No matter what you decide how to move forward, your first choice is Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. 1205 101 Street Southwest.
Be melon jolly, not melancholy. Summer is ripe for fun, and some Booster Juice bestsellers are back in season. Watermelon smoothies, including the refreshing Watermelon Wave, a berry burst of strawberries, raspberries, pomegranate, and vanilla frozen yogurt, and fan favorite, Watermelon Explosion, a refreshing burst of bananas, mangoes, and pineapple, both made with watermelon sorbet and probiotic yogurt. All of the watermelon, none of the seeds. Visit a Booster Juice near you today or download the Booster Rewards app.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Buying a vehicle at Sherwood Honda comes with 0% intimidation. Seriously, they want you to feel comfortable. So ask anything. There are no dumb questions. How does this car compare to that truck? Ask it. Could the payment be this much instead? Feel free to ask. At Sherwood Honda, you can ask anything without fear of judgment. Like, do you folks have a jingle? Okay, a few dumb questions. And if you have questions about car buying, it sure would make sense to ask Sherwood Honda.
Hey, Natalie, how are you? It's
Diablo Boots in Canada West. 2 great names in working cowboy boots. For over 60 years, Diablo has been selling the best-made Canadian boots. Diablo has boots from sizes 6E to size 15 EE, just for you. Why buy boots made in China like Ariat, Justin, or Red Wing, when Diablo has the best quality for less, made in Canada? Diablo has working cowboy boots with replaceable soles and heels for longer life. So, save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard, on the east side of Save On Foods. Hurry in today for best selection.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Can Torque. We're excited to announce that we now have machining capacity in-house, quicker turnarounds, improved quality control, and ultimate flexibility. Call 780-436-2000 or email colin@cantorque.com to find out more.
Pro sports, local sports, minor leagues, you got it all. It's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports
We've got Declan Kruger and Donovan Paulson also running things behind the scenes. You can watch us on Oilers Nation Facebook and YouTube streams, as well as X and on Instagram with Sports 1440. The show is brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. You can use code word SUMMER, get a $50 free pay with a $5 deposit minimum at PlayAlberta.ca. Make sure to use your game sense. So right now we're going to get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by the JPHL, an academy-style approach for U14, U15, and U18 players with a focus on skill development and education. Learn more at juniorprospectshockeyleague.com. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Washington Commanders. It's been a very interesting offseason for them. Some big things coming. We're joined by Natalie Spala of 7 News in DC. Natalie, thanks a lot for doing this today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. Busy day for anyone who covers an NFL team. Of course, with the rosters being cut down today, and then specifically here in Washington, we also had big news that the home of our Commanders officially has a new name. So busy day here in the NFL, but a good one for sure.
Okay, what is the new name, and also any surprise cuts for Washington?
Yeah, so let's start with the name change. And this was something we knew that was coming. I feel like a lot of people anticipated it before week 1, the opener here, which would be week 2 rather. But Northwest Stadium is the new name. Again, if anyone's unfamiliar with it, we went from FedEx Field to Commanders Field to now Northwest Stadium. The team agreed to an 8-year naming rights deal. We were let known earlier today, $75 million. So I want to talk about just the current stadium, because I was actually there for the final preseason game this past Sunday at Commanders Field, now Northwest Stadium. $75 million is being put into this stadium right now, and the renovations are beautiful. If anyone, again, is familiar with the whole process right now, the ownership wants to move the team eventually. This has been an ongoing thing, and it will continue to be an ongoing thing. The process is, of course, very complex when it comes to moving a team. And right now, we don't know if it'll be in D.C., Virginia, or Maryland. So right now, we do know we have a stadium named Northwest Stadium, and that stadium will continue to be revamped because we do know the team won't be moving anytime soon. 2030 was the target date for that potential move. So lots and lots to unfold in the years ahead for sure. But yes, again, cut down day here. And, you know, in terms of big shocks, there were maybe a few ones, but you guys have to remember that this is a team that has a new GM, a new head coach. The ownership is now their second year, but truly a first full year. So we knew changes were coming in terms of maybe the players that were under that Ron Rivera regime. 23 players, those are the only players that were part of that 2023 roster that are now a part of this 2024 roster. So pretty intense changes. But in terms of those names, you know, I think a Cole Turner stands out, a tight end, you know, running back Chris Rodriguez, defensive end KJ Henry. Those were all guys that were drafted last year that all got released today. So 5 of those 7 that were drafted in 2023, they were released by this new coaching staff, GM Adam Peters. So again, you kind of anticipate these things when a new regime takes over. But yeah, we finally got our answers today, guys.
Natalie, and you mentioned it, Adam Peters comes in, a very hot candidate for teams that were looking for a new GM. Dan Quinn, Cliff Kingsbury. The offense should be fun to watch. You got Austin Eckler coming over from the Chargers, Zach Ertz, and then drafting Jaden Daniels. I mean, a really good offseason for the Commanders. It is a tough division with the Eagles, the Cowboys. I'm thinking 2 wins against the Giants isn't unreasonable, but what are the expectations for this Commanders team heading into the season?
Yeah, that's a tough one because, you know, being someone in my position, like you talk to fans and then you talk to other members of the media. We just had a press conference with Josh Harris the other day, and it's fun talking to those fans specifically because, you know, some guys, there always will be those fans that are going to say, you know, we're going to the Super Bowl this year. Like this year's the year. So I'm not saying, I mean, go you, like do your thing. I do not expect this team to make Super Bowl this year, but I do expect this team to be competitive. And that is one of the things that head coach Dan Quinn has said from day one. This is just a team that he wants to, when the team steps on the field, he wants other teams, other fan bases, other franchises to know that this is a team that is absolutely going to bring it. That's kind of like his coined phrase that I've noticed in several press conferences. So I think that those are my expectations too, you know, being a part of training camp, being in those press conferences. I mean, those were the things that were continually spoken about, talked about, whether that was the coaching staff, whether that were the players. So that's just kind of the more the angle I'm taking. I think that's a good, cautious, optimistic little angle in terms of, we're just going to expect this team to play with speed, play with aggression, and be a team that is capable of winning this year. I think that's where I'm going.
Natalie Spala joining us here talking Washington Commanders, and the quarterback position is going to be fun to watch. I think Jaden Daniels, obviously, you take him that high for a reason. Marcus Mariota there, maybe a little bit of someone he can look up to and get some good feedback as well, help watch film, those sorts of things. But what should we expect from Jaden Daniels? What have you seen from him in camp and preseason?
Yeah, he's been really fun to watch, and not only watch him on the field, but, talk to him in press conferences, hear what Dan Quinn has to say about him, because he was a guy, from day one, before we had even seen him on the field, rookie mini camp, OTAs, training camp, you name it. He was a guy that so many of his players and the coaches just spoke so highly of. And I think that was the main thing that stood out, not only for me, but a lot of members of the media. He's the guy that truly shows up, first one to show up, last one to leave. A guy who's not being asked to, I think the words used by head coach Dan Quinn were, we're not asking him to wear a cape, be a hero. We're not asking him to be a leader of this team. We want him to come in and play his position to the capability that we know he's able to play it as. But we are seeing Daniels be a leader. I mean, as a typical quarterback would, but it's been fun to watch. Just his composure, I think, is one of those things that has truly stood out to me as well. He looks like he belongs. He is not frazzled. He's a guy that doesn't get too high, too low. It's been fun watching him in these preseason games too. He didn't play this past Sunday, but he did play limited snaps for the first two games. First the Jets, and then in Miami. I think a lot of people were talking about his range and his accuracy in that first game. I know one play specifically, it was him going downfield to De'Ami Brown in a very, very tight window. And I think it was one of those plays that head coach Dan Quinn was like, don't throw that. But it got to De'Ami and it was great. And then the second game in Miami, there was a play where, definitely either get out of bounds or slide, do the typical QB things that are not going to put you in a position to be tackled. And he was tackled a little bit. So I think there were some instances where you're just seeing his competitive nature. Of course, not very smart of him, but you see the competitor, you see just the fire that is truly keeping him going. So I think those are going to be the things that fans see week one in Tampa Bay, that competitive nature, but the composure and just the true sense that he belongs here in the NFL.
Natalie, last question for you. We know you're on a time crunch. Just in the backfield, Brian Robinson Jr. obviously showed up last year, very well known for going through a bit of a shooting and battling back to play. That in itself is pretty impressive. But then the team brings in Austin Eckler from the Chargers, who was a little bit slowed last year by injury. What do you expect the split total to look like with those two backs? Would any be a good, viable fantasy option?
Ooh, that's a good question, because my draft is actually in 2 hours. So maybe I'll help someone else out there. I am super, super excited about the offense in terms of running the ball, because that was something anyone who watched a game last year knows they did not do enough of. So expect this defense, offense run by Cliff Kingsbury. He loves to throw the ball. He loves to do fancy things downfield, but expect this team to run the ball a lot more. And even we saw it a little bit last year, not as much as we love to see it. Brian Robinson, when he did get that ball in his hands, he was capable of doing some cool things with it. So, and to again have a guy like Austin Eckler in the room helping him a little bit, because that was something also a lot of, and I don't even want to say the running back position itself, but a lot of these positions last year had young players, not a lot of veteran leadership. And so it's guys like Eckler, guys like a Zach Ertz, a Bobby Wagner, Frankie Luvu, guys who have so many years of not only experience on the field, but they know what the ins and outs look like to have a successful career in the NFL. I think those guys are going to make a world of difference for young guys like Brian Robinson and some other, young guys that, need to have people to look up to in the locker room to not only know what it's like to be a player on the field, but off the field. So there's so many different intangibles when you look at a guy like Eckler. But if you're asking me yes, I would go ahead draft Brian Robinson because, why not? I'm telling you to.
That's good enough for us. Natalie, thanks so much for doing this today. Really appreciate it. And good luck with your draft in a couple hours.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
There you go. That is Natalie Spala joining us from 7 News DC. That is the ABC affiliate in Washington. And Ty Pearson checking in here. Hey, guys, what's the outlook on Ben Sinnott, the rookie? Is he getting first-team looks? Oh, no, we just missed you on that one. I think that Zach Ertz is probably getting most of the first-team looks, but there's a lot of two tight end sets. Declan, we watched him. We talked about him being the draft fiends that we are. Ben Sinnott, what do you think about him as a passing option for the young Jaden Daniels?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't think he's going to blow the roof off of anything, but I think he can be a sure-handed check-down target, which is something a young quarterback like Jaden Daniels is going to need early in his career. Like, I'm not sure what the schemes are going to look like. You have to imagine a lot of the, deep balls and things like that. A lot of the big plays are going to go to Terry McLaurin, as they should. And Jaden Daniels is going to have him to rely on in those scenarios, but there are going to need to be a lot of situations where a rookie quarterback doesn't quite have the head on his shoulders he needs. He's going to need a solid check down guy, and I think Ben can be that for the Commanders.
Team moved on from Jahan Dotson. Their receiving core, maybe they like it. I don't know if I do, but I think Ben Sinnott could be a guy you might want to look at. Didn't blow the roof off in preseason, but hey, we'll see what happens in the regular season. That was our big guest of the day, brought to you by the JPHL. You can learn more at juniorprospectshockeyleague.com. Wanye Gretz, Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, Donovan Paulson with you here. You learn anything from that one, Wanye, for your potential football draft?
Well, I've been looking while you guys were chatting into where Tony may end up, so I'm ready for 5 questions right now. So I'll be honest. I was studying for the test in a few minutes.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Sharp.
Hashtag Bad Niv says, preseason games are such a bad judgment of what a rookie QB can do. Zero team scheme for specific things. Come regular season, it's night and day harder. I mean, I would say that about almost every position when it comes to preseason. Like, your star tackle looked good. Joe Alt was phenomenal. Well, who'd he play? Well, it was mostly backups. Like, it's not the same. So I think it can give you a reason to be excited, but don't think it's set in stone that all of a sudden this player, because they had preseason success, it's a good indicator. But yeah, we got to wait for the real things to get going on. Take those helmet pads off and start thumping, and we'll find out what's really going on. 1-833-401-1440. Mike, on the topic of athletes we despise, given my man crush on Tom Brady, I hated Peyton Manning and Colts players. I hated Eli Manning twice as well. See, I loved Eli Manning twice, but hated him the rest of the time. The Chargers could have drafted him, but he pulled Eli and said, I don't want to play there.
He pulled an Eric Lindros and refused to play for the Chargers?
Yeah.
You take that to your grave, Connor.
Now, in hindsight, he won 2 Super Bowls with the Giants. Well, the Chargers barely win playoff games.
But they might have won 2 Super Bowls with him.
Could have done it with him. He would have had LT in the backfield. He could have won. Perplexed Oilers fan. Should the Oilers give Draisaitl and Bouchard whatever they want, or wait for offer sheet? Or are the Oilers thinking of getting a huge haul for Draisaitl?
What the heck is this guy talking about? You think you're going to wait until Draisaitl gets an offer sheet to sign him?
No offer sheet for Draisaitl, but Bouchard could happen if they don't sign him.
So you think the St. Louis Blues double offer sheet has opened the floodgates of more offer sheets?
Could you imagine?
Do you think that's what's going to happen? It worked. They got what they wanted. People are copycats.
If I went back and looked around like the history of the NHL, like the Oilers situation was perfect. 2 RFAs that were good players. The team had no cap space. Like they left the doors open. I don't know. Does that happen every year? I'm trying to think. Like we've seen RFAs, and it's usually the guy who has a good season, and teams are desperate, so they take a shot. But I think if the opportunity presents itself in the future, it's going to happen. Like GMs might be like, okay, this is something we need to look at a little bit more than we used to.
Well, given that it worked, you have to think that people are going to pay more attention to it.
I will say that does not happen to Evan Bouchard.
Yeah.
I think the Oilers would find a way to match. It might be a way to speed up the whole negotiation process, but I don't think there's any chance the Oilers would lose Evan Bouchard. And Draisaitl will sign. And if he doesn't sign, then we got content for a little while. Then the talks of do you trade him will be everywhere. Franny says, I'm scared that their big moves involves trading Draisaitl. I don't have to worry, do I? No, Franny, I don't think so. Come back and talk to me if it happens, but I would put like a very low chance that that's going to be a thing. And talking about Nick Kypreos' players people don't like. Don't people mean Nick Kyrgios, the tennis player from Sean? No, I think someone doesn't like Kipper. I thought Kipper was pretty well liked, but can't speak for everyone. CJ EDM, that I've always said Eichel has the most punchable face. Spot on,
Yes.
Wanye.
Yes.
Zadorov as well, if I could reach his face.
Let's go beat up Jack Eichel together.
Outside the Vegas practice facility?
Yeah, just a noogie. Like, just catch him like a wedgie. We don't have to punch him. Just.
We don't want we're not a violent show here.
Have you ever seen his yearbook picture?
No, I haven't.
From like junior high making its way around?
We'll
I don't
take a
advocate punching children, Connor, in really most situations. But I would punch young Jack Eichel in the face. If I could travel back through time to wherever it was he went to school in that photo.
Would you be the same age as him?
I think so.
That makes it more fair.
But I'd run back through the wormhole. They can't catch me.
Oh, yeah. Because he would, if he got his hands
He'd snitch.
on you.
Or Jack Eichel's a snitch, I guarantee it.
Well, I'm thinking if he got his hands on you, he could probably beat you up.
Nope.
No?
Nope. Granted, he's a professional athlete training 365 days a year. I just feel like based on swag, I could beat him up.
One last one from Tiger. He says, Connor, I don't understand why things take so long to get done. Look at Jerry Jones in Dallas dragging things on. Now Leo and the Oilers getting dragged. And on the numbers, it seems obvious, and Cates can give it all to him up front. Who really cares? Well, I mean, you have to be under the salary cap, Tiger. So Cates just can't write a check and say, here you go, we're settled. It has to be under the salary cap, has to fit in. I'm telling you, in my opinion, and I know nothing, like this isn't Jason Gregor talking because, he's more connected than I am. This is Connor Halley saying, I think when Leon gets here, we're going to hear that the talk's ramped up. He'll sign, and then there's a press conference, and it's done.
It's going to be the news that opens the season off. I'm totally with you, Connor.
I don't have any nerves yet.
No.
If the season starts, we'll circle back and talk about it again.
But we're just scaring ourselves, like playing Bloody Mary in the mirror. You ever play that when you were little?
No, can't risk it. Did you?
I was shown the game by the kids at school. I played.
Cam says Leo is gone.
Oh my God.
Stu says Jack Eichel looks like the kid who got too excited at the Lego store and peed his pants.
Yeah, at age 26.
It could be anyone. That Lego store is always bumping. There's always something going on down there. And then Cam also says, kiss your drain goodbye. Followed by dry. Typo. We'll take a break. When we come back, talk to a guy. It's just a genuinely good human. Jason Strudwick will join us. We'll talk some Oilers, maybe some New York Giants, maybe a few other things. He had a really, on a serious note, a very good Instagram story today.
He did.
So we'll talk to Struddy about that and more here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz, Declan Kruger, Donovan Paulson sitting with you here. You're watching on Oilers Nation Facebook, YouTube, or X, and listening on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Rule number 116. In Waterton, walk with a lean. The wind will always prop you up. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the words. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
Modern Air and Water is your source for AC, furnace, duct cleaning, and water purification systems. Get a 12-year parts and labor warranty and save up to $2,500 on a complete new system. Contact your Lennox Premier dealer at modernairwater.com.
They say at any given moment, only 7% of people are looking for a car, and that 7% notices advertising for cars. Everyone else, 93%, doesn't even hear it. So this ad is just for the 93% who aren't going to really notice any car ads right now anyway. Hey, it's Scott here from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge. And I hope you, yes, you, the person listening right now, I hope you have a great day. Anyway, that's it. I'm done.
What you'll never hear in your life.
Mom, for my party, I'm taking the leftover codeine that Dad got for his back pain last month.
What you never want to hear in your life.
Unfortunately, this happens too often. Teens don't think it's that dangerous to take meds if they're used to treat back pain.
If you leave your medications within reach, anything can happen. Drug-Free Kids Canada reminds you of the importance of keeping your medications in a secure place and returning unused medications to the pharmacy. Visit drugfreekidscanada.org for more tips.
Noon. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz with you. Declan Kruger, Donovan Paulson as well. The Jason Gregor Show is brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. I'm coming to you live from the eWell Studios here in West Edmonton Mall. eWell Studio, where the real power plays to shop. eWell.ca for all your electrical needs 24/7. eWell.ca is your partner in power. Josh texting in, hey guys, there's an accident on Highway 16A between Spruce Grove and Atchison eastbound. So if you're heading out that direction, be careful. Heads up. Hope everyone's okay. Hope it's not a bad accident. Have you ever been in a car accident, Wanye?
Coming home from the U2 concert in Calgary. You?
Going to an Elks practice.
Practice?
Yeah, some guy blindly was waved through an intersection. Well, I was there.
Who waved him through?
Someone who was stuck. It was construction. And it was at an intersection, so this guy had stopped because he didn't want to sit in the middle. It wasn't a light or anything, and I came through wide open lane. And this guy just drove through probably about a millisecond away from a head-on collision.
One time when I first started driving, Connor, it was really, really icy near my house. And I locked up my brakes and I was sliding. And so I just jumped out of the car while it was moving because I was genuinely concerned I was going to get into a fender bender. And my dad was driving the other way.
What?
And saw me jump out of a moving vehicle in the middle of the winter and said, if you jump out of your car while it's still running once more, you're not allowed to drive.
Everybody gets one.
It was a bad move to jump out. I thought it was like an action hero move. I thought I was getting out of an accident because my car was going to slide into the car in front. So I removed myself from the situation.
Did time slow down for you when you were doing that?
Well, I got in trouble because my dad saw it immediately. And I was like, didn't even really get that far and got busted. But like, I thought, would you ever jump out of a car, moving car to get out of a fender bender?
I once jumped off my bike and time kind of slowed down.
Okay.
But it was the bad decision. So I think I got that out of the way at a young age and thought, just ride it out. What happened to your car? You just hit somebody?
It fortunately didn't slide as far as I thought it would. But I was like, I'm out. And I jumped out the door. I was only going like sliding speed. I wasn't like cruising. I was going up to a stop sign. But they don't recommend it. I now know. Do not exit a motor vehicle you're piloting.
Makes sense.
Stay at the wheel.
Does make a lot of sense.
The captain goes down with the ship.
Absolutely. We'll bring in now Jason Strudwick, former NHLer and co-host of the Got Your Back podcast. Struddy, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
Good. What's going on with you guys?
Just talking car accidents.
I hear that. What did someone get in a car accident?
Well, close calls. Mistakes have been made, Struddy. Have you ever had a close shave in a car?
Oh, yeah, close shaves, yeah, for sure. I remember my first accident. I was at the public library, and I backed into a guy with my mom's Ford Aerostar.
Come on. What were you doing at the library?
Yeah, a big reader. Avid reader. It was before the interweb, right? When you geniuses started that up. So I'd go there and hang out, try to meet some new friends.
Sure. Thank God you made it through.
I just scraped the poor guy's car. My mom wasn't very upset. Wasn't very happy, but that guy was pissed. First accident. The first one's always hard. Take your first ticket.
Oh, yeah.
You get pretty rattled.
Struddy, you flew a lot as a professional athlete. Any close calls while flying?
Oh, I remember one. We were with the Canucks, and our plane was literally like, you just kind of fly with the belly underneath you. Well, we were turned perpendicular to the earth. I could just look out my left window and I just could see the ground. I filled my shorts there. That was a major eye opener. So scary. But that was the worst one by far. And the pilot, he comes out, he was shaking. I'm like, oh my God, this isn't a good sign if he's rattled.
The older I get, the less I enjoy flying. So I just think about it all the time. Like as a professional athlete, especially playing in Edmonton or Vancouver, a lot of flying. It feels like you'd have your close calls every once in a while.
Yeah, you do. But you know what? Honestly, I was pretty tired. So you get on the plane and I'd usually have something to eat. And the food is great. And you'd have a quick nap. You wake up and then you're like, oh, we're already there. Okay, perfect. And we just go and you put a movie on. I wasn't much for the card games. Some guys played cards or, Baccarat. What was it Baccarat we played or Backcrash or something like that? It was pretty fun. But, once you'd have a nap, usually in the plane, you're in the air and you're like, hey, we made it. We're safe. Once you're at 10,000 feet or whatever it is, I feel pretty confident.
I'm glad to hear it. I'm always impressed with those guys who just fly everywhere and no panic or fear or anything, because that's not me, Struddy. Not anymore. Let's talk a little bit about the Edmonton Oilers, and Frank Saravalli got people a little bit interested, talking about how there's a chance the Oilers could be looking to make a trade rather than go down the PTO route. Obviously, you'd have to make the money work, and it could cost you some picks. But do you like this idea for the Oilers going out there and bringing someone in outside of a PTO?
He's the hardest working guy. Does he not take a summer off?
No days off.
This guy's a grinder, a complete grinder, and I love it. So it depends what they're getting. I feel they have a lot of people that could play the third right spot, right D, right? There's a lot of guys there, whether it's the new guy or some of the old guys that have been there, or Brown that they signed. A lot of options. So you don't need another, third pairing defenseman. You need a second pairing defenseman. I think that's the thing. So if you're trained for that, I'm guessing, I think that's the only spot that needs anything on, the Oilers need. So if you're going to trade, that's the spot. And then it better be something, fixes it. Like when they traded for Ekholm, that fixed it. Like that, if you're going to do something, do it right. That's what my grandma always said. So don't half-ass it. Don't bring in someone that, may or may not help. If that's the case, just wait and wait for something better.
You know what my grandma said, Struds? Don't crash the Aerostar at the library. That's how I was raised.
Woman.
Yeah.
Wise.
Struddy, what are you thinking about Sam Gagner trying to lace him up for his 18th season in the NHL? What do you think Sam has left, and where do you think he'll play?
When I was 27 years old, I played for the Blackhawks. We had a guy, was our coach, Dennis Savard. And Savvy, I asked that, how do you know when it was time to retire? He goes, I'm going to tell you something an older player told me. He's like, play till you don't want any more, and then play one more year till you hate it. And, so Sam's played a long time in professional hockey. 18 years is incredible. And, he still has that love of it. So if you have the love of it and you feel like you can still play and contribute on whatever levels that is, then go for it. I'm all for it. Go and play. No one's going to, he's going to end up where he ends up. Maybe it's a PTO, maybe that translates to a contract, whatever he wants to do. He has a young family. He's got a lot of life ahead of him. But I say keep playing until you literally cannot put the skates on anymore, because then you're done for sure, and there's no looking back.
Jason Strudwick joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz sitting in today. You can hear Struddy on the Got Your Back podcast. And various markets around the country. Sometimes even on overdrive strategy, we'll see when we're watching the show from studio, looking very good in the home studio. Now, a lot of people texting in, Tony, Carmen, a few others. Should Oiler fans be getting nervous that Leon Draisaitl hasn't signed a contract extension? Struddy, I don't think so. I think we wait for Leon to get back into the city and then go from there. But what are your thoughts on Draisaitl and the extension not being signed yet?
I obviously feel better if you were signed as well, but let's just be honest here. The Oilers have had a pretty eventful last 60 days. I'm taking you back to Game 7, the draft, free agency, new GM offer sheet. Like, there's been a lot going on, and a contract this big. This is a big negotiation. And it's not just the number, right? It could be, the salary. What is our signing bonus? So what's the salary cap? How do you spread it out? What is the term? All those types. No trade clause. Like, there's so much to do, and the Oilers have been really, really busy. Not to mention now trying to sort out, maybe another potential trade. So I'm not saying they're putting it on the back burner. But I think what they are trying to do is just make sure they do it the right way when Leon's comfortable. And maybe they said, let's talk over the summer, then we'll get back. Maybe we'll try to hammer it out for a week or so in there. So I'd be way more uncomfortable if he didn't have a contract and come into camp. He's got a contract and he'll be there for training camp. But then again, you have all year to get it done. I feel comfortable saying he'll be an Oiler, this time next year. I haven't heard anything against that from anyone credible. So I think that's what we're looking at. But again, this is a big deal. This is the Jason Strudwick 1 year summer deal where you just say, oh, you'll take it or leave it. No, okay, and you move on. There's a lot of things that go into this.
If you are a free agent right now, I'm not associating you with a Jason Strudwick summer deal, but like for the players out there right now, what is the process, of deciding whether or not you're going to sign a deal or you're taking that PTO? Like, what do you think the discussion is players have with their agents regarding this?
PTOs are tough. We do see some of them translate into contracts, but it is difficult because most of the time everyone kind of has their guys signed. Otherwise they may have signed you. Now some of the players may be coming off injury issues or whatnot, but for the most part, everyone kind of has their guys. So I remember in my last year, I was invited to a PTO with Vancouver Canucks, and they were a really good team at the time. And I ended up going to Sweden, but I remember thinking, like, there's not a chance I make this team. And I thought what they want, and this is just me personally, I felt that they wanted me just to be there to meet a quota for games played in the NHL, because I think I had close to 650 or 700. So in those exhibition games, and also a guy that can maybe fight, and whatever, things got ugly in an exhibition game or whatever. But there was no chance I was going to be on the Canucks this year, not a chance. So I was like, you know what, I really respect that you offered me this, but I'm not interested. And then, I just went back to the pool, kept swimming, and then went to Sweden a month later.
Jason Strudwick joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Strady, let's just quickly look over at the CFL. I know you're a big fan of the Edmonton Elks. A tough loss on Sunday against the Montreal Alouettes. Had a chance to pull out the win. Weren't unable to do so. Missed a big field goal at the end of the game. It was tough, but still playing good football. That's a 10-1 team. You went there. You had them on the ropes. Now you've got the Calgary Stampeders for the next two games, Labor Day Classic and rematch. What do you think the feeling is in the room heading into this matchup over the weekend?
Well, it's obvious that some of the changes, whether it was ownership, obviously you've got to make the guys excited, but also the coaching has changed the feeling on that team, the vibe. And even when you watch them play, like, there's a belief that they think they can win, right? And that's what's needed. You can't just go in thinking we might win or we're not going to get beat too bad. And I've been on those teams, and it's not fun. Let's just hope we don't get beat too bad. So I thought they did a really good job, and they looked like they were in there. And yeah, they could have won the game. They had a couple unfortunate breaks, but it's so much better because you're excited to go to the field and you think you can win. So now you got two pretty important games here coming up where you can really make some noise in this Western division, where it's not like it's decided. Everyone is kind of roughly around the same win. So the Elks have a chance to do something special, but more important than anything, there's a belief, and I think that goes so far for your squad.
Strady, last one for you here. And I was scrolling through social media. I saw your IG story, and it was a letter you had written talking about fertility and the funding in our province. I want to give you the platform to tell people a little bit about the issue and why you decided to write this.
Yeah, thanks. We shared our story with Gregor when we had our children, and our journey was not uncommon, except something no one talks about. And ours was infertility. And my wife and I had a lot of challenges. It took about 5 years. And we got through it, and luckily because of, my career, I was able to pay for a lot of these treatments. But, since that time, we've had many people come to our home, and we've counseled people. And in Alberta, it's one of the only provinces where we're unable to get funding for fertility issues. And I'm not looking for mine to get paid back, but for those families I know that have, borrowed from friends, borrowed from families, or open line of credits, taken a second mortgage on their home to try to start a family that so many people, luckily for them, take for granted. So I'm advocating and then hoping that the government can find a few coins in the coin purse to help out those families in need to support them in their fertility journey. Right? These are people that they want what everyone else has, a beautiful family, and it can be expensive if you can't have it naturally. So this is what we're hoping for, and you can check it on my Instagram story and how you can get involved.
Jason W. Strudwick on Instagram. Go give it a look. And I know you and Shona sharing your story is absolutely awesome. You've got an amazing family now, so it worked out for you guys. But sharing your story with others, I think that goes a long way, and just letting people know about the issue and that, there are ways around it. So love to see it, Struddy. Very well said. And we appreciate you coming on the show today.
Bye, boys. Talk to you later.
See you, Struddy. There you go. Jason Strudwick, former NHLer, co-host of the Got Your Back podcast, joining us every Tuesday on the show around 4:20.
What was Struddy doing at that library in an Astro van? He was not reading. That is an open investigation. And I don't know when the statute of limitation on library fender benders, how long you have until the book closes. I have a lot of questions.
Here's the thing. Struddy's told the story numerous times. He got beat up by Shep kids for carrying around his trumpet. There's a chance that Struddy wasn't the coolest kid in school.
Listen, I went on Jason Strudwick's bus in elementary school. I was in grade 1. He was in grade 9. By the time he was in the NHL, I was in grade 4 or something. I don't remember how the numbers worked out, but Struddy was a giant as a child. If Struddy got beat up for his trumpet or whatever he just told us, it's because he wanted to get beat up for his trumpet. Nobody was beating up Jason Strudwick at any age.
Trombone. I played the trumpet. One day we'll start a brass band. We'll do the Brass Bonanza live in studio.
Can you still play?
No, I couldn't play back then. That's why I quit. I was not very good. Had a bad teacher in grade 8.
Well, now hold on. Whose fault is this?
The school boards, school system.
Yeah.
We had about 10 of us in the class, and 2 of us were trumpeters. So I tell you, when people messed up, they might not have been heard, but when the trumpets messed up, we heard about it.
Well, when I was in grade 6, my school had a referendum. Should they use the money they've been raising to buy computers or handbells?
I was a sick handbell player in elementary.
Well, we got the handbells, Connor.
Not computers.
Not a soul in our school.
Why would you buy computers? Who's using those in the future?
Precisely. What we need are 85 sets of handbells for the children to ring.
Which elementary did you go to?
Holy Cross.
And Struddy would have been going to
Holy Cross.
So that's K through 9.
Yep.
Was he one of the cool guys?
As I remember.
Had your back?
No. Unlike the podcast, you're not going to have the back of a great. I swear, I don't know what our age gap is, but I was in like early elementary.
Well, Struddy's a few years away from 50. That's when he said he's only 1 year away from 50. Because I think he said he would shave his head. He wants to make it to 50 before he gets rid of the hair.
I feel like, well, this is hardly the forum to discuss, but Struddy doesn't need to shave his head.
1-833-401-1440. Does Struddy need to shave his head?
He's not listening still, you don't imagine.
I don't think so.
Good.
I don't think he needs to either.
It's up to his eyes and Astrovan problem.
Still haunts him. I'm glad he was able to speak on that on our show today. We'll take a break. When we come back, 5 questions led by Declan Kruger. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440 and Oilers Nation Facebook and YouTube.
The road lays ahead. Your potential destinations are endless. Volvo Cars Edmonton gives you choice to match. Right now, lease a new 2024 Volvo XC90 from 0% for qualifying loyal customers. Or save $7,500 on all new 2024 XC60 Recharge plug-in hybrid models. All demo vehicles come with a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty. No matter what you decide how to move forward, your first choice is Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. 1205 101 Street Southwest.
Bacon or sausage and egg McMuffin? It's a delicious dilemma. But what if you didn't have to choose? The Mighty McMuffin is back with bacon and sausage. Mighty McMuffin, mighty impressive. For a limited time at participating McDonald's in Canada.
The Bricks Famous Tent Sale is back in town. Find up to 60% off clearance items. And check out fantastic deals in every department. like up to 30% off sofas and up to 50% off mattresses. Visit The Brick while the tent is up and the prices are down. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV. Anything that's exposed to the elements or has moving parts needs regular maintenance. And when you consider an RV, well, it falls into both categories. Lots of moving parts and sitting out all the time, which is why we hire the best RV technicians in Alberta to come work here at our new, bigger store in Leduc.
Noble has giant indoor service space that can hold the biggest RVs in the world.
That's right, Bob. The vast majority of our indoor space at No Bull is dedicated to service and repair. You spend the summer in the great outdoors, and we spend the winter doing scheduled maintenance, so you're ready to go next season.
Sounds like a year-round thing, Rick.
That's it exactly, Bob. Our techs are the most highly experienced men and women in the business. We're solving problems and creating solutions every day. Whatever your used RV needs, our service team has seen it before and knows exactly what to do.
And that's No Bull. NoBullRV.ca.
Kruger, Donovan Paulson with you here at the eWell Studios in West Edmonton Mall. The show, as always, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. It is Tuesday. You know what that means. Lotto Max. You can go grab your ticket or go online at PlayAlberta.ca. Right now, let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick. You can check out The Brick's fabulous tent sale for all your home outfitting needs, from mattresses, bedroom decor, and sofas to appliances, electronics, and dining furniture at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right. Question number 1. Sam Gagner has reported himself that he has PTOs as he is in 18th season in the NHL. What is the absolute best case scenario in terms of not only production, but also team for Sam Gagner?
In terms of production, I think, like we've heard Dave McCarthy say, I think a 13th forward on a team would be good. I don't know which team exactly that is, but if he's going to a team where he's an everyday player, then I don't think that team is winning too many hockey games at this point for Sam. Not to be a jerk, but I just think that it's a young man's game, and he's had such a great career. If he's going to play still, I think it's going to be on a good team where he can contribute coming off, out of the press box. We saw him do it last year, 2-goal performance. He can provide a spark. So I don't know the exact team, but for his sake, I hope it's a competitor where he's not playing every night, but when needed, he's ready to go.
Boy, when he had that 2-goal game last year, was that ever great?
It was awesome.
I thought he was going to get the hat.
Go to the blue paint.
You got it.
They were struggling too. It was awesome.
Connor, when I was in the NHL, I played for the Chicago Blackhawks, and my assistant coach was Dennis Savard, and he told me, Struddy, play until you hate it. And I said, that's not my name, but it's good advice.
Then play one more year.
So that's what I want to see. What old Coach Savard told me.
Question number 2. The Edmonton Oilers are considering a trade that would, quote, shake things up, per Frank Saravalli. What do you think this could be, and what would you want it to be?
Well, what I want it to be, obviously, is the return of Ginger B, Fried Schaefer. Would he fit in the lineup, Declan? No. Would he help us moving forward? Probably not. I think he's the most logical choice.
Where there's smoke, there's fire.
That's right.
Even if it's just Twitter smoke. So why don't we just go down that rabbit hole? And maybe it is Dante Fabro from the Nashville Predators. You look at that group that they have, and he's getting kind of pushed down, right? So maybe he's made available. Is he an upgrade for the Oilers? He might be. Could you get him at a cheaper cost? Probably.
Thank you for working that through, Connor.
So throw in Ginger Beef as well. Send him home and make it work with the Preds.
I'll meet him at the airport.
I don't know exactly how it's going to work out, Declan, but that's about as good of a guess as I could put together.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Number 3, Kadarius Toney has been cut by the Kansas City Chiefs. Who could have seen that coming? Where could he end up that would be best for his career?
Kadarius Toney, best for his career. I don't know. I mean, I think he could be somewhere where it's not a very good receiver group, and he could take advantage of some good quarterback play. When you think about that, the Kansas City Chiefs immediately come to mind. So if they don't want him, go somewhere where they will pay you. Las Vegas. I don't know. Go be a deep threat for whoever they have out at quarterback. A little gadget player. Have fun with Devontae Adams. Go live in the city. Las Vegas. But really, I don't know if there is a good answer.
Well, I did my research pretending that I knew, and Fansided says he might go to the Steelers.
Okay.
Can you imagine? I can't.
Him and George Pickens playing alongside each other.
Oof. Comedy.
Question number 4. Who is one athlete you swore would be good, but just never quite got there?
It's an emotional question for me, Declan, because the answer is a stalwart defenseman, former Oil King, traded the 16th and 33rd picks of the draft for him. I, in a moment of glory, and I believe that was Connor's draft night, said, Griffin Reinhart is the future of this team. And everybody laughed at me at the event. I really thought Griffin Reinhart was going to be the move. He could still surprise you.
It's not too late for a comeback. The one for me, Manti Te'o.
It's a good one.
With the Chargers. A second round pick. I'm like, he only fell because of those storylines that are going on here. This guy can ball. He almost won the Heisman as a linebacker at Notre Dame. Got drafted to the Chargers. I was fired up. And not a bad career. But I thought he might be able to kind of duplicate what he did in college. That was not the case. Had some injuries. Went to the Saints. Done with the Chargers. But I'll say Manti Te'o was a guy I thought would be a little bit better than he was. There's a whole bunch of them, though, we could go through.
And question number 5. Along the lines of our earlier conversation, we were talking about our most hated athletes. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of overrated athletes?
Do you got a list, Wanye?
Oof, overrated athletes. I mean, you could synonymous with the players that I don't like. I think everybody I don't like is overrated. But Chris Pronger was not overrated. Unfortunately for Oilers fans, he was exactly as advertised. A 9-foot defenseman who could slow the game down. Jack Eichel's overrated. Would you agree with that, Connor?
I don't have beef with Jack Eichel.
You don't?
No.
What's the matter? You like jerks?
Jack and I are cool.
Oh, I see how it is. Who else is overrated?
Yeah, who else fills out your Rushmore?
Rico Fata.
Got 4 spots on.
I always thought Rico Fata was going to be amazing Rangers draft pick because he had a cool name. Very few players with cool names don't pan out in my mind. Players who don't pan out, I have this theory. They have whack names. But Rico Fata is a great name. So cool.
I got a problem with this one because I think everyone's appropriately rated. Like if 7 million people think that Kobe's the best player of all time, and I disagree, what makes my opinion better than the rest of those 7 million people? I got into a huge argument with my buddies once. They told me Prince was overrated. I said, I'm not a Prince fan, but the guy's son sold so many records. How can he be overrated? He's like Billboard legend. How can one person be overrated if they've done all that? It's personal preference. That being said, Joe Namath.
Yeah, he's definitely on the Rushmore.
Jason Tatum. Who else?
Bronny James.
Bronny James gets a lot of love. Sure,
he's going to live up to it. You'll see.
Vince Carter.
You think
A little bit, yeah.
Air Canada was overrated?
And just
Little bit.
for the fans out there, Derek Jeter. Loved Vince Carter. Love all those guys. I think they're all appropriately rated, but those are the ones I'll go with here. Like, could you imagine putting any of those guys on your list of the most overrated players? They're like Hall of Famers. I'm very interested to see the feedback on this one. Evan Bouchard. Big Country.
Big Country Reeves?
Turtle Kachuk.
Yep.
Valerie Zelepukin.
Wow.
Like, who thinks he is good?
Valerie's agent.
Now that could be a reference to the question before that as well.
Players you thought were going to be really good.
Well,
Yeah. that's a good
Zelepukin
point.
was all right.
Yeah. Most overrated player ever is Mike Vernon. The fact that he has his number in the rafters in Calgary now as a Hockey Hall of Famer is a joke, and I'm a Flames fan.
Wow.
Austin Matthews, super overrated. Angel Reese is overrated. Mike Comrie. Tim Tebow.
Whoa, hold on. Who said Mike Comrie?
Professor Tilf.
Sir, your ship is not in hockeyology. Mike Comrie was not overrated.
Bobby says Rick Nash. Rick Nash was great, though. In Columbus, Austin Matthews, super overrated. Perennial 80-point guy. GM Parisian. He's one of the best goal scorers in the league.
Not Nail Yakupov.
No.
He lived it up to it.
Rico Fata.
Rico Fata. Someone else said Rico Fata?
Crotch. Oh, he just said, I heard Rico Fata.
Oh.
Rico Fata and Valerie Zelepukin came to mind.
Oh, fair.
Name recognition. Rob says, I was right there with you on Griffin Reinhardt, Wanye.
Oof, we were led to believe. Remember when we got the Oil Kings, Connor? They're like, we're going to have the inside track on all these guys in the dub. And the Oil are going to be taking sleeper players in the last round with all this inside information.
Didn't work.
Griffin was the captain.
Should have drafted Mark Pesic.
Local boy.
Mhm.
Shout out Morgan, who actually texted in a Rushmore instead of just one name.
Jeter,
Appreciate you,
Osgood,
Morgan.
Eli, and A-Rod. Morgan, well done. Eli Manning, overrated. That's my pick. Didn't want to upset Struddy. Robbie Shrimp.
Yeah.
Tom Brady, most overrated athlete ever from Matt the Promo Guy.
Oh, come on, Matt the Pro.
I don't know how you justify that one.
Come on.
He has more rings himself than any NFL franchise has.
Is that true?
Yeah. He has 7. No team has more than 6.
Overrated, eh?
I guess that this whole industry is based on your opinion, but I got to take a step back and say, no, he's not. You're all appropriately rated. If you suck, you're not underrated. You're just not good enough.
So you don't believe in hype?
No, but you can. Wait, hold on a sec. Because you can definitely be overrated and underrated, I think.
But so who's overrated, Declan? Give me someone.
Steve Nash was pretty overrated by a lot of people.
2 MVPs.
Yeah, didn't do anything until he got to the Mike D'Antoni 7-second offense.
Well, I mean, we could make that about like LeBron didn't win until he went to the Dream Team. Overrated?
Steve Nash also, his game didn't elevate until he was older and the rules changed and some of the physicality got taken out of it. And outside of those years in Phoenix, he was fine in Dallas. He was a good player, but he wasn't near the same level he was. People love to put him on a pedestal because he's Canadian. And one of those MVPs also should have been Shaq's for sure. Oscar De La Hoya, another name that comes to mind. He's held in the stature of celebrity when he lost to everyone good he ever fought, with the exception of Julio Cesar Chavez the first 2 times. And then, like Joe Namath, I would say. But to your point, why someone is overrated, I think it's generally because of the celebrity and narrative around them.
That could be it.
Because I don't think you ever see someone I don't think it's ever just someone's on the field, on the ice, on the court, on the diamonds play. I think there generally has to be like a third party factor kind of contributing.
Just not an exact science, so we can't just exactly say it. But I don't know, I've just gotten no debate many times. I think you're appropriately rated if it's like worldwide. This person is like, this is how good they are. They've done all this. That's what they are. Tom Brady's great. There's no way anyone can convince me he's overrated. Peyton Manning, same thing. But, for my list, I just wanted to have some fun because Derek Jeter is one that comes in all the time about being overrated. And I mean, I was going through his resume yesterday.
Donovan, resident baseball guy, did give us, I believe he gave us the thumbs up on he's overrated, but not the most overrated ever. He's nodding yes.
What about like Rick DiPietro, Connor? Surely that's overrated.
Well, but who looks at DiPietro and says,
good?
what an amazing player? It was like his contract's great. That could, I guess, determine his being overrated. Derek Jeter's a 14-time All-Star.
Yeah.
5-time World Series. World Series MVP, Rookie of the Year, 5-time Gold Glove, 5-time Silver Slugger, 2-time AL Hank Aaron Award. Playing for the Yankees, sure, made his spotlight absolutely massive. But if he does that playing on any other franchise, we're like, holy cow. He did that for the San Diego Padres. GOAT. We're going to put him in the Hall of Fame with 99% of the votes. What a stud.
You need to factor in his off the diamond play too, if you know what I'm saying.
Iconic.
Now, was he the juicer or was that A-Rod? It was A-Rod, right? Yeah.
Jeter would never. He's captain, man.
He was a biracial angel.
Could you imagine having a 99.7% first ballot Hall of Fame? Who the heck was like Jeter? 14-time All-Star, 5-time World Series champion, 5-time Gold Glove, not a Hall of Famer. Come on, guys. I would love to see who didn't vote him in the Hall of Fame. Who said, nah, not good enough.
Well, from what I heard, I believe some MLB writers just won't write in anyone every year as like a protest. Like, I think that's a thing that people have done.
Because I don't think they want someone to be 100% in. Yeah. Mariano Rivera didn't get 100%. I think he had the highest that wasn't 100. Like, unbelievable. Anyways, get off my high horse here. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll be joined by Mark Spector. We also got Derek Van Diest on the show today. We'll talk some hockey and a few other things going on in the sports world. It is the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. But let's get to a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice. Try the Cookies and Cream Booster Ball, the yummy little bundle of almond butter, maple syrup, coconut, and gluten-free cookies. Download the Booster Rewards app and order one today only at Booster Juice. Here is Declan Kruger.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
And for your Sports 1440 update, we start with some tennis action and Canadians in the U.S. Open. It was Felix Auger-Aliassime falling to Jacob Mensik in the first round in straight sets at the U.S. Open. Denis Shapovalov, the second Canadian to go out in straight sets, as he fell to the Netherlands' Botic van den Sandensloop in the first round. And Gabriel Diallo playing right now against Joma Minor in the first round action over at the U.S. Open. Won the first set 6-4, down 2-love in the second set. In the women's draw, Bianca Andreescu will be in action in a couple minutes' time here as she takes on 5th seed Jasmine Paolini. Right now, though, it's Leylah Fernandez. Currently tied 1 set apiece in the third set against Anastasia Potapova. Anastasia currently serving for the set, leading 6-5 in the third set, 15-all in that game. MLB scores right now, plenty of action in the league. The Angels and Tigers were tied at 0-0 before they were delayed in the top of the first. Pirates leading the Cubs 2-0. Astros and Phillies tied 0-0 in at the top of the second. In the bottom of the second, it's the Royals leading the Guardians 2-0. One other game at the bottom of the second sees the Athletics and Reds tied at 0, and the Yankees and Nats, the only other game on the schedule right now in the top of the second, 1 hit apiece, but tied 0-0. Toronto Blue Jays will be in action in about 7 minutes' time. Here's they're out in Boston taking on the Red Sox. Rodriguez on the mound for the Jays. And a piece of NFL news earlier today is Kadarius Toney has been cut by the Kansas City Chiefs, and Odell Beckham Jr. will miss at least 4 of the Dolphins' games as he has been placed on the physically unable to perform list. In hour number 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Derek Van Diest from NHL.com. I'm Declan Kruger, and this is the Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to call Legacy. Call Legacy for comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you. Call Legacy. Call Legacy for comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Honk your home for Papa John's newest deal. It's one big deal for one big pizza. An extra large New York style one topping pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's original fresh, never frozen dough. Hand stretched thinner to make 8 extra large slices with your favorite mouth-watering toppings. So hold and fold that slice like a New Yorker. Bigger is better when it comes to pizza. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get some extra large New York style one topping pizza for only $17.99 at Papa John's.
Here's Dr. Vance Elliott to talk about Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery's new website.
We needed to spruce things up a bit and give it a modern look.
Sounds like your website needed a little surgery.
Exactly. It's easier to navigate, much more user-friendly, has an updated patient gallery, and answers to the most commonly asked questions.
There's even a section about you.
I want you to know my story, so you'll be confident that I'm the right doctor to help shape your story.
To learn more, check out the new website at drvanceelliott.com.
They say at any given moment, only 7% of people are looking for a car, and that 7% notices advertising for cars. Everyone else, 93%, doesn't even hear it. So this ad is just for the 93% who aren't going to really notice any car ads right now anyway. Hey, it's Scott here from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge. And I hope you, yes, you, the person listening right now, I hope you have a great day. Anyway, that's it. I'm done.
We've finished construction of our gamma radiation containment facility. Is it up to code? Is it going to be safe?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Testing team reporting. We test your commercial operations using tools like infrared to ensure safe operation. Trust us to prevent potential calamity before it strikes.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Hey, this is Mark. Hey, Mark, it's Becky. How are you? Not a whole lot. Sorry, I'm good.
At playalberta.ca. Use promo code SUMMER. Get a $50 casino play with a minimum $5 deposit. Remember to use your game sense. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz with you, coming to you live from the eWell Studios in West Edmonton Mall, where the real power place to shop. eWell.ca for all of your electrical needs. 24/7. eWell.ca is your partner in power. Still to come on the show, we're going to get to Derek Van Diest of NHL.com, but right now it's a spec report brought to you by GS Construction. They're still hiring and looking for laborers, pipe layer helpers, top men and women, lead hands, water and sewer foremen. Go to Indeed.com and look up GS Construction. We're joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet. Spec, good evening. How are things going?
Going great, Connor. Just out here with Gregor playing the Action Electrical Golf Tournament at Eagle Rock. Having some laughs, hitting some balls, fishing a couple out of the lake, same old, same old.
I'm glad you told us that because Gregor had told me where he was and I kind of forgot what it was. So Action Electrical Tournament at Eagle Rock. Now I'm going out to Eagle Rock on Sunday for my fantasy draft golf extravaganza to determine our order. How's the course playing?
Playing great out here. Really, really nice. It's I've never played here in my life and quite enjoyed the round today. It's a good, if you like pulling up the driver, the fairways are, not wide open, but not particularly tight. So you can swing away out here, which we all like, I think.
It's good to hear. It's good to hear, especially for my game. How many golf tournaments are you at now, Spec? We've had you on for a couple.
I know. It seems like lots, not that many. Mine and Carius's and this one, and the Oil Kings alumni. So 4. Well, I don't play in mine, so mine doesn't count. But, end of the season, the guy's trying to stuff a little golf in here before they start sending us to hockey rinks, man.
I respect it.
I guess my question, Spec, is how is Gregor playing, and can you make fun of him on the air for his golfing?
He's about as horrific as I am, so that's good. You know what? We actually played pretty good. We came in at a 12 under.
Oh, shoot.
For 18. So that's as good as I've played in the tournament with a bunch of guys yet. So we'll see what happens. Might even win a prize out here. Who knows?
Might win yourself a Sports 1440 hoodie.
Yeah. Who wouldn't want one of those?
I mean, I would love one. I'm here every day. I would love to get one of those, Spec. We've got a lot of people getting a little bit nervous here. So I want you to kind of play the role, talk people off the cliff. Should people be getting worried that Leon Draisaitl hasn't signed his contract yet?
No, I don't think we should be getting nervous about that. No. I don't. Listen, don't turn this thing into what Mitch Marner was last year in Toronto, which was a soap opera that went the whole bloody season and painted, it sort of shaded every single day of Leafs coverage. But what about Marner? I don't know. Personally, I feel like, I see no reason why he wouldn't sign. They've cleared up money. They've got money for him. They intend to sign him. McDavid's here. The McDavids and the Draisaitls are very close. They got a chance to win cups. What's he going to do? Find a better team to play for that can afford him? People say he's going to the Kings. The Kings aren't winning a cup anytime soon, boys. Do you look at their roster? So, no. He's signing here. He's going to try to win cups here. I wouldn't be worried one bit.
Frank Saravalli of Daily Faceoff down the dial saying that the other thing in Edmonton that they're looking at is potentially a trade, things that could shake things up a little bit more than just the PTO route. And a lot of people speculating, Fabro down in Nashville could be someone they could look at. What do you think about that? The Oilers taking a chance to make a trade instead of the PTO, which, it might be slim pickings.
Well, that's a good question. I mean, if you're, there's 2 routes to go here, right? I think the route would be fill the gaps with say Troy Stetcher, with say some guy at a PTO, let's say Tyson Barrie or Justin Schultz, and get to the trade deadline and then make your major acquisition then. And I think history tells us that's always there. There's always a right shot D on a team that's not making the playoffs on an expiring contract. There's always a guy. I'm sure they've already done their homework on who that guy's going to be. So that's one route. And I guess the other route is to say, no, we don't want to wait till the trade deadline for that regular player. We want him now. And the only way to get him now would be to make a trade. So, I don't know. I've covered hockey for a long, long time and not seen many blockbuster trades made in August and September. I mean, it's easy to say it. History tells us it never happens. So, Frank's connected. I'm not saying Frank's wrong. But if they make a trade in late August or early September of any import, it's going to be the first one that's happened at that time of year in a long, long time.
Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz with you today. And Wanye had brought it up earlier. Sam Gagner looking to kick it another time. 18 pro years. This looks like it'd be a PTO. What do you think the likelihood is of Sam Gagner getting on a PTO and then cracking a roster this year?
Not great, frankly, not great. They kind of have, listen, it seems to me, depending on how things go and how they flesh things out, Derek Ryan is going to have a hard time being a regular guy on this team at 4C. So, if he's in a position where he's got to fight for playing time, I don't know where Sam Gagner's playing time's coming from. We love Sam. Everyone loves Sam. Ken Holland would have kept him around, I think, just to bring him into hockey ops and make him part of the organization. I don't know what Jeff Jackson's thoughts are on that, but if you're asking me if having Sam Gagner as an active player on the Oilers is something that they need, as much as I like Sam and respect Sam and would love to see him in the dressing room every day, I just don't see it, guys. I don't see it.
Mark Spector joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz in with you. So when we get to camp, when it eventually does roll around here, what do you think would be kind of some training camp open battles we might see, just in terms of lines and maybe defensive pairings? Where do you think the open spots are?
Well, I mean, it's certainly, it's changed. Like, one of the things that I thought was that great line in the playoffs with Brown and Janmark on the wings. I thought to myself, and Holloway was playing below there. Thought to myself, when the season starts, there's no way Holloway's playing below Janmark. Well, Holloway's not here anymore. I question, to me, Janmark the fourth line winger during the season, and who's going to be the third line left winger on this team? Who's going to be second line left winger if Kane's not playing? Where are those slots going to fit? Who's playing next to Henrique? I see Henrique as your third line center. So I'd say up and down the left side, there's a little bit of action. And I would also say to you that clearly, who's Emberson? How good is he? Is he your third pairing right D playing with Kulak? Does Kulak play the right side? Who the hell's playing with Darnell Nurse? They don't have the guy here yet. So I guess you bring the people in. I'm not sure what the battles are going to be, but they certainly have a hole to fill. Does anyone have a hot clue who's playing with Darnell Nurse at this point?
I guess wait and see, really. I mean, who's going to elevate their game at camp, right? That top pairing is going to be Bouchard and Ekholm. And then whether it's Emberson or Stetcher or PTO or someone they make a trade, I'll be with you. I think that spot's wide open right now.
It is. And we know what's going on in goal. It's Skinner and Pickard, and anyone else in the organization could find, they should be finding a long-term residence in Bakersfield, whoever you are, for sure. So, your top six is pretty much full. We know it's going to be Nuge and McDavid and Hyman, and then it's going to be, we'll see on left wing with Draisaitl and Arvidsson on the right side. And, let's see what happens. They've lost a few speedy forwards. I think one of the things that Stan Bowman would love to do if he is doing any trading around here is inject some speed in that forward ranks. They lost a lot of speed, boy, with Holloway, Fogle, and McLeod walking out the door. This team's not as fast as it used to be up front.
You're telling me, Spec, we'll let you get back to the course or whatever the post-round festivities are. Thanks for doing this today.
All right, boys, have a great day.
Talk to you tomorrow. Maybe if it's on video, we won't actually talk. But usually I do call Spec and there's a little chat. Hey, how you doing?
Yep.
Today, Declan had a kind of a comedic one with him. Gave him like the usual rundown. Usually like, hey, it's insert name here from Sports 1440. How you doing? And then Declan corrected himself. It was kind of funny. Like, oh, I guess who's calling Spec. But I was behind the scenes. It was kind of funny. When you look at potential camp battles, like top six is full, maybe a bottom six winger, and then the right side, bottom two pairings, like good problems to have because it's not your top six forwards or your top pairing, but still some questions in this Oilers lineup and who's going to slot in coming into the season.
I'm shocked to hear what Spec had to say about DR10. I thought Derek Ryan would be a lock to play on this team this year.
Is Oilers Nation's Waz a little worried right now? Big DR10 fan?
Favorite player, yeah. I don't see too many battles going in. I mean, defense got some question marks, but I don't see anybody really coming in here pushing for a spot. Do you?
I mean, I would love to see it, but I just looking at it, I do think that right now your top six are pretty much settled. PTO could change things up. Maybe someone comes in here and really shocks, but if really, they're that good, would they be in a lineup or have a contract already? PTOs are great. Sometimes they help you find a spot, even if it's not with that team. Was it Chris Versteeg that did a PTO with the Oilers and then signed in Calgary?
Yep. Who's the PTO king? I'm trying to think. Former Oiler. Is it James Neal?
Chason.
That's who it is.
Remember when Chason was put on power play 1 and then all of a sudden just went on a tear?
Best.
That was good times. Jason, just go to the front of the net, stick down. McDavid and Draisaitl will find you. That's the blueprint.
The pressure on players on PTOs is just crazy, hey? Going to camp with nothing guaranteed.
Yeah. I mean, you're buying it's just a one-way ticket. Hope I make it. If not, I'm flying back home and I'm done. It's got to be, in a way, it should bring the best out of you. Desperation to an all-time max. Like, you can't afford to take a practice off because they're always watching you. But at the same time, they might not be watching you as much as they're watching their own prospects. So you really have to show up.
I hope to goodness Sam Gagner can play wherever he wants, as long as he wants.
I'm with you. I would love to see Sam Gagner lace it up one more year at least. But I mean, there's going to be, he's set for life. Like when he wants to get into whatever role it is, coaching, scouting, front office, he's going to find it. As long as he's willing to put in the work, I think he'll be good.
It's interesting, Spec, saying that Jeff Jackson may have different career plans for Sam Gagner than maybe Ken Holland did. I hope the Oilers find a way to keep Sam Gagner in the mix.
All right.
We don't do a good job of transitioning players off the ice into the front office. There's a lot of former Oilers running other teams or AGMs of other teams. I would hope Sam Gagner is our guy.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Yeah, develop them, see what happens. That was the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. Check them out, gsconstruction.com. Morgan had texted in. My apologies. Morgan, it was Mariano Rivera did have 100%. We all said unanimously he's an MLB Hall of Famer. Ken Griffey Jr., 99.32. Nolan Ryan only got 98% of the votes. Who the heck how can you call yourself a major league reporter, writer, and say to yourself, nah, Nolan Ryan, not good enough?
Oh, do you remember why the Trappers left?
Because it was too far to fly?
Because they were purchased by
Nolan Ryan?
Exactly.
You're saying a Canadian reporter was like, I'll get you, Nolan.
I'm just saying Nolan Ryan stole the Trappers and doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. So it was my vote. Okay? It was my vote.
You did it.
That's right. I have a vote.
You bought a vote. Hank Aaron, 97%. Tony Gwynn, 97%. Randy Johnson, Greg Maddux.
Let me ask you this.
Willie
Connor.
Mays got 94%. I want to throw my pen in anger.
Do you think LeBron James is going to make the Hall of Fame, Connor?
Yes.
You do. Divisive.
Could you imagine if someone's like, I don't want him to be unanimous, so I'm not voting him in. That'll show him.
I think Bryce is the best James. The one with the glasses? That's right. The
That's
one
the
with the
one.
glasses.
Declan, I see your finger on the button.
No, so I actually didn't have anything to say. It was just hovering. I was trying to work in a joke about someone being really political, devout Democrat. The only LBJ they recognize is Lyndon B. Johnson, not a LeBron James guy, but that was it.
Gears were turning in the brain. I saw the finger hovering. I'm like, he might have something here.
I am a known hoverer.
Well, we'll take a break. When we come back, we will talk to Derek Van Diest, NHL.com. We know he's a big fan of soccer, big Cowboys fan, so we can talk to DVD about a lot of things. 1-833-401-1440, the topic earlier today. Who's your most hated athlete? We'll talk about that and more on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz, Declan Kruger, Donovan Paulson with you here from the EWell studio in West Edmonton Mall, streaming on Sports 1440, iHeartRadio, and you can watch us on the Oilers Nation YouTube, Facebook, and X streams brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Honk your home for Papa John's newest deal. It's one big deal for one big pizza. An extra large New York style one topping pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's original fresh, never frozen dough. Hand stretched thinner to make 8 extra large slices with your favorite mouth-watering toppings. So hold and fold that slice like a New Yorker. Bigger is better when it comes to pizza. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get some extra large New York style one topping pizza for only $17.99 at Papa John's.
Rule number 37. Elk Island mosquitoes don't believe in personal space. Keep bug spray ready at all times. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
The Bricks famous tent sale is back in town. Find up to 60% off clearance items and check out fantastic deals in every department. Like up to 30% off sofas and up to 50% off mattresses. Visit the Brick while the tent is up and the prices are down. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
The Charm Offensive with Jim Jeffries.
Every generation before you has also been the most progressive generation.
And Jimmy Carr.
I don't know how to explain this to you.
I'm not that small, I'm just far away.
One night, two comedy icons. September 8th, Rogers Place. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.ca. The Charm Offensive with Jim Jeffries and Jimmy Carr. Produced by Outback Presents.
Bacon or sausage and egg McMuffin? It's a delicious dilemma. But what if you didn't have to choose? The Mighty McMuffin is back with bacon and sausage. Mighty McMuffin, mighty impressive. For a limited time at participating McDonald's in Canada.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV. Anything that's exposed to the elements or has moving parts needs regular maintenance. And when you consider an RV, well, it falls into both categories. Lots of moving parts and sitting out all the time, which is why we hire the best RV technicians in Alberta to come work here at our new, bigger store in Leduc.
Noble has giant indoor service space that can hold the biggest RVs in the world.
That's right, Bob. The vast majority of our indoor space at No Bull is dedicated to service and repair. You spend the summer in the great outdoors, and we spend the winter doing scheduled maintenance, so you're ready to go next season.
Sounds like a year-round thing, Rick.
That's it exactly, Bob. Our techs are the most highly experienced men and women in the business. We're solving problems and creating solutions every day. Whatever your used RV needs, our service team has seen it before and knows exactly what to do.
And that's Noble. NobleRV.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. Connor Halley with you, Wanye Gretz, Declan Kruger, and Donovan Paulson keeping us going on the online streams. You can check us out, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. And hey, if you're on Instagram, give us a follow at Sports 1440. We're also streaming live there, coming to you from the EWell Studios in West Edmonton Mall. The show is always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. The Lotto Max tonight. Get after it. You can just log into PlayAlberta.ca and find it right there. Use your game sense, though, and when you're there, if you want, do a minimum $5 deposit, put in code word summer, and you'll get a $50 casino play. Only at playalberta.ca. Use your game sense right now. We have Derek Van Diest from NHL.com joining us on the show, as he does every Tuesday. Derek, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Good, Connor. How are you doing today?
Doing really good. How was your trip? I know you were out on the road last week.
Yeah, it was just a quick trip to Prague. They had the European Players Media Tour out there. Quick trip, went out there. It was just a one day. It was kind of like a car wash of players. They came in, you talked to them, asked them about the upcoming season. So it was good. It was good. And then it was just on turn around, take a flight back home. So it was a quick trip, but it was a lot of fun just being there for the couple of days I was there. So it was good.
Right on. Who did you get a chance to talk to, and did you learn anything big?
Well, nothing too big. David Pasternak was there, and UC Saros was there, and there's kind of a line of guys that were there as well. So it was good that coming in here, but I didn't learn too much. It was more about how they feel going into the season. Pasternak was really good. He talked about the Bruins and what can you expect out of the Bruins this year and how they're good every year. I guess that's the one thing with them is that they're good every year. So we talked to a lot of guys that they're really confident, and the European guys, they're interesting. They all as the North American guys are at home, they're all skating together, working together. European guys are kind of doing the same thing. So they all get together, whether it's Prague or they go to Switzerland. A couple of them went to Switzerland to there for a week to skate for a week. So they're all getting ready. They're all excited about the upcoming season as well. The Swedes that we talked to a few Swedes. They were excited about the Four Nations Cup coming up. So were the Finns. They think that's going to be a nice intro to the Olympics next season. So they're excited about that. So there's a lot of optimism, obviously, early on going into the season. A lot of teams think that they have a chance. and we'll see kind of where everything kind of falls into place. But no, a lot of optimism, a lot of excitement. It hasn't been a long time since hockey was played. I think June 24th was the final game of Game 7, so it hasn't been a long time. But I think there's still a lot of excitement, and as we get towards September here, things really start to ramp up, and I think teams and players and fans really just are excited for the upcoming season, especially here in Edmonton with the team they put together.
Now, I don't know if you got a chance to talk to any of the players that aren't participating in the four-nation face-off. It's going to be Canada, U.S., Sweden, Finland. Did you hear from any players that aren't participating and how they feel about the event?
Yeah, there's a few that, the Czechs, for example, there's a lot of Czech players they're not happy about not being in the event. I know that the NHL wanted to just be an NHL event. They just wanted NHL players to play in the event. So the Czechs felt that maybe they could have been a Czech/Slovak team, but then you would have to got a 6 team in there somewhere. And I think, that's kind of when things become strange, and you add another European team, you have a /Europe team. And you got to understand that this is right in the middle of the season. So this is not something that you can take 2 weeks off during the middle of the season for this tournament. That's going to happen for the Olympics. They're going to take time off for the Olympics. So I think the Czechs, particularly since they won the World Championship, in Prague. I know I talked to a couple of them about that. They were so excited about winning the World Championships in Prague, and they said that they partied for a week in Prague. And if you've ever been to Prague, it's one of the greatest cities in Europe. It's fantastic. It's a city it used to be a hidden treasure. Now, actually, obviously, a lot of people know about it, but it's one of my favorite places to go. And I can just imagine what it would have been like, to celebrate there, to celebrate a World Championship with the Czech team. So I think if anyone's kind of more upset about not being represented, I think some of the Czech players are a little bit about not being represented, but they will be at the Olympics, and I think I'll get a chance to kind of show their stuff best on best at the Olympics. But the problem with this tournament, it's got to be a short tournament. It replaces the All-Star weekend, so it can't be a 2-week long thing. It's got to be a shorter tournament. So I think, just the logistics of it, everything, that's why they just wanted to make it a quick 4-team tournament and go from there.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I mean, for the players not going to participate, get a little rest. I'm sure they'll take that mid-season and look forward to the Olympics, as the rest of us will. Derek Van Diest of NHL.com joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley and Wanye Gretz sitting in for Jason. He'll be back tomorrow. A lot of people questioning, the Leon Draisaitl contract situation right now, DVD, and, maybe a little bit of panic, actually, from some of the texts that we have gotten. For me, I think wait and see till he gets to Edmonton and then see if it gets negotiated quicker. And then we have that press conference happening. But what are your thoughts on the contract negotiations here with Leon Draisaitl and the Oilers?
Well, I think, it's between Leon Draisaitl's agent and the Oilers. Not necessarily. I don't know if it'll make much of a difference if Leon Draisaitl comes to town or not. I think it's whether the Oilers are getting FaceTime with Mike Liut, his agent. Whether now you got to wonder, what is it Jeff Jackson that's at the forefront of this? Is it Stan Bowman? Like, who's kind of running the negotiations here? But I don't think it matters much whether Leon comes into town or doesn't come into town. These players don't negotiate their own contracts. The agents negotiate the contracts, then they present them to their clients and say, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? What do you think of this? By all accounts, it's going to get done. It's going to get done, whether it gets done before the season starts, whether it gets done a little bit into the season, it's going to get done. And it looks like Leon Draisaitl wants to remain an Oiler. They want to keep that championship window open, and they know they have to do it with Leon Draisaitl. I think that's one of the reasons they brought Stan Bowman in, because he's used to keeping championship windows open. He took over the Chicago Blackhawks, and he got 3 Stanley Cups out of them. So they look at that and they go, okay, maybe he can do that here. I talked to Stan Bowman. He says the team here is a little more in their prime than the team that he had in Chicago with Taves and Kane and Seabrook and Keith and those guys. But I think that's why he's here. He's here to extend that window, and he can't extend that window if he doesn't have Leon Draisaitl signed going into next season. So I don't think there should be panic yet. It's going to happen. There's going to be, all the dominoes are going to fall here. He's the first domino to fall. And I think once he's in place, then you can kind of fit everyone else in place. But it's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle a little bit here, because you got to fit everyone in under the salary cap, and you have some contracts already that are going into the next few years. So I don't think there's panic, but I don't think it matters if Leon Draisaitl's here or not, because the negotiations are between his agent and who's ever running the negotiations, whether it's Jeff Jackson or Stan Bowman with the Oilers. So Draisaitl's just going to concentrate on hockey, and that's what he's focused on. And then when they present the contract to him, whether or not he accepts it, that'll be up to him. But yeah, he's not involved in the negotiations at all.
Derek Van Diest of NHL.com joins us. Of course, the regional reporter covers the 4 Western Canadian teams in the NHL. And last week we saw a trade involving one of those Winnipeg Jets, sending Rutger McGroarty to the Pittsburgh Penguins for Braden Yeager. I think Yeager, a guy who a lot of people like in return. But what did you make of the whole McGroarty situation and how the Jets handled it?
Well, I'm a big fan of Kevin Shettle-Dale. I really am. I think he's handled that team really well. I think he should be an executive of the year every year, just where he has the Jets and where he took the Jets. And I thought he handled it perfectly. He said, hey, this kid, from all accounts, if you wanted a guaranteed spot on the NHL roster if he came out of school. Now, nothing is guaranteed in this life. Nothing is guaranteed in this league. And he's never played an NHL game in his life. And he's like, well, if I leave school after 2 years, you have to give me a spot on the main roster. And the Jets said, whoa, wait a minute here. If you're ready for a spot, we have a really good team. We have a very competitive team. And if you can fit in that team, we will. But we're not guaranteeing anything to you. And that's the thing I like about Shettle-Dale. He wasn't going to get strong-armed into do anything. And they threatened to go back to college if he didn't sign. And they said, hey, you do what's best for you. We're going to try and sign you. If you can make the team, you can make the team great. But if not, then you're going to have to go play in the American Hockey League. You have to pay your dues like everyone else does that plays in this league. Nothing is guaranteed. I don't care where you come from. I don't care what your pedigree is. I don't care where you're playing in college. And that's the way it should be approached. Every team should approach that. No player should be guaranteed a spot coming out of college. His group didn't like that. He didn't like that. I'm sure he didn't, being a U.S. kid, he didn't think coming to play Winnipeg was something appealing to him. So he tried to strong-arm the Jets. And the Jets said, okay, if you're going to go back to college, it's fine. You don't want to be part of our organization, that's fine. We want people that want to be part of our organizations here. And I thought it was a great trade. And we'll see where it goes from there. We'll see how it happens. But the Oilers were in a similar situation in the past with players saying, hey, I'm coming out. I want a spot on the roster. And they say, no, it doesn't work that way. You don't tell us, we tell you. That's how this league works. So I thought they handled it perfectly. I talked to Kevin Shettle-Dale when he was here at the Hlinka. We talked about Rutger McGroarty. We said, what are you going to do with him? It's like, we'll deal with it. We've talked to him. We want him to be part of our team. But essentially, if he didn't want to be part of the Jets, then they had to move him, and I thought they got great value for him.
Derek, what do you think we're going to see from the Calgary Flames this upcoming season?
Yeah, that's a good question. You know what? And I think a lot of it is going to dictate on how Dustin Wolf plays. If he can come in here and be the goalie that he was in the American Hockey League, he was the goalie of the year 2 years in a row in the American Hockey League. He won the league MVP in 2023. If he can come in here and be that guy and backstop the Flames, and if they can kind of build around that, the Flames are kind of a team in transition. I know Craig Conroy said they were more reloading than rebuilding because they still got some good pieces there. It's going to come down to how Wolf plays, how Dustin Huberdeau plays, and how Nazem Kadri plays. And if they can get those three guys going, then I think that they could surprise a lot of people this year. But they need Jonathan Huberdeau to be a semblance of the Jonathan Huberdeau that he was in Florida. He hasn't been that in Calgary. They gave him a big contract. They gave him lots of money, and he just hasn't delivered. He's got to deliver. He's got to be the big, strong, effective player that he is. And last year, he was a healthy scratch, or he was benched, and he's just not getting it going in Calgary. And it's a matter of they need to get him going. He's got to be their number one guy. Kadri's got to be their number two guy, and then kind of everything else fills in the gaps because they got a lot of good young players coming up in that system. I think they've done a really good job of drafting. They've done a good job of developing, and now it's just a matter of some of those guys have to make that next step. But I think it all starts with Dustin Wolf. If he can take over from Jacob Markstrom and be the guy that they think he can be, he's capable of being. He didn't have a good 15 games last year. He didn't play very well. There was times where he struggled, and he's kind of a smaller goalie too. He's an athletic goalie. He's a smaller goalie. But he's got to figure it out that the shooters in the NHL are a lot better than the shooters in the American Hockey League. Hopefully that taste of it last year will help him this year. But if he has a good year, then I think the Flames will have a good year. If he struggles, then the Flames are going to have a long year because there's no one else to stop the puck. It's just a matter of they got most of their eggs in one basket. Vladar's he's a capable goalie, but he's been a career backup. He's not going to be your number one guy. So they need Dustin Wolf to step up and Huberdeau to step up.
Derek Van Diest of NHL.com joining us here. Just one last question for you. Both the Vancouver Canucks, obviously heck of a year last year, 50, 23-9. Second round of playoff appearance where they lose to the Oilers in Game 7. Do you expect them to continue that and battle it out for first place with the Oilers next year?
I think so. I think they have the pieces there. They do have star pieces themselves. And I think this is a team that that it has the pieces, and they were able to put it all together with Rick Tocchet. So I think this is a team that's very competitive. I expected them to be competitive last year. I don't know if a lot of people expected them to challenge for the President's Trophy and move into that spot temporarily. I don't think a lot of people expected that, but I do expect them to be a very good hockey team. They're a little disappointing in the playoffs. I think in the playoffs they needed a bit more grit, a bit more size. They need a few more bangers, and that's maybe something that they can address this year. But I do think they'll be a very good hockey team. The one thing I don't think will happen, though, I don't think they'll be underestimated. Being in Vancouver, a lot of teams don't see you play because your start time is so late, especially those teams out in the East. So I think they took a lot of teams by surprise last year. But they're a Rick Tocchet coach team. They play hard, they go all out, and they got a lot of talent on that roster. And I think that's the thing you got to look at. There's some talented guys on that roster, and they can have good years again. This is a very, very good hockey team, and you're looking at they got there. They know what it takes to get there now, and I just think now they want to take the next step. Like, I believe that the Vancouver was maybe a year or two ahead of schedule last year, but I think now this year and the next year they're right where they're supposed to be, or right where they're expected to be when they drafted guys like Quinn Hughes, when they got Elias Pettersson, when they got those guys that kind of build their foundation. So I think they're going to be a very, very solid hockey team next season.
Yeah, I mean, we saw how feisty that team can be. They got the talent to back it up. It's going to be a lot of fun in the Pacific Division this year. Derek, thanks so much for joining us today.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me on.
There you go. Derek Van Diest, NHL.com, joins us every Tuesday here on the Jason Gregor Show. Bob texting in, I hear up to 7 Oilers trades. Any truth to some of those? Up to and including trading Stuart Skinner and the sign and trade for Ullmark. I haven't heard any of these, Bob. I'll just start off by saying that.
Bob, are you a star traveler? Have you come here from an alternate dimension? Who told you that Stuart Skinner trade, Bob? Who?
Let us know, Bob.
We need names.
Also, thanks for tuning in today, Bob.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, that would be wild. I haven't heard any of those. And we live on the internet. We don't even see those things.
7 trades.
Could you imagine? Up to 7. As we were talking, Paul Almeida sent me a message. And he said, "One day in Prague is a crime. Poor DVD." Of course, Paul Almeida knows this with Azarkan. And he told me 8.5 hours to Amsterdam and then a 2-hour flight to Prague. 10.5 hours of flying plus a little bit of airport time for one day. That'd be tough. It'd be cool, but it'd be a quick turnaround. And I'm afraid of, well, hold on. Let me backtrack here. I don't love flying anymore. So I don't know if I'd want to do that.
What happened to you, Connor? Did something happen to you?
I don't know. I just don't like it. I had a bad experience in like grade 7, but that was a long time ago. We were flying and we just dropped for I don't know how far. Felt like 1,000 feet.
Oh, no.
And people were spilling drinks. We got off the plane. It was Edmonton to Seattle. And there was barf bags on like every single aisle.
Oh, man.
I was like scarred. I've taken tens of flights since then. But if I could take the train, I would probably do that. I'd be like John Madden. I'd rather have a bus if I could afford it.
Is that what John Madden did?
The Madden bus, yeah, because he didn't like flying either. So for Monday Night Football or Sunday, he would take his bus around the country.
That's got to be a lot of work.
Well, he wasn't driving. It was like a big bus. Like
sure.
Yeah.
But you're still like hauling ass.
Well, absolutely. Taking names too.
Oh, yeah.
John Madden, GOAT. We'll take a break. 1-833-401-1440. Get those texts in here. You got any last minute players you love to hate growing up? We'll talk about that. Harry says you got to look in the dark web. Absolutely.
You know I'm not illegally allowed in the dark web, Harry.
Dangerous over. I would love to access it just to see what it's all about. What is it like? The things you can buy. What are you gesturing there with your eyes, Declan?
You could buy that. No, you could buy like a giraffe with an AK-47 that's trained to shoot. You can buy anything.
You could buy people on there. So the gesture to me might not have been that out of left field.
To what end?
I don't want to do that. I want to like scroll around dark web Kijiji and just see what's out there. Are you allowed to go on the dark web? If I got caught, would I be in trouble?
Yeah. It's a federal crime.
Is it?
I think so. I don't actually know, but I'm pretty sure.
Not a federal crime.
I don't want to lose my job over it.
75% of the people in the dark web are federal agents waiting for you to buy that gold AK-47 you've had your eye on with Bitcoin. Then it's SWAT teams through the window for old Connor.
I just asked one question and I'm done.
It is not illegal to use the dark web. However, most of what you would find on the dark web is illegal in nature. Is what I'm seeing.
You need a special browser to get on, correct?
Yeah.
I don't have Bitcoin account.
NordVPN.
Let's take a break. When we come back, maybe we'll talk more dark web. Who knows? It's the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, as well as the Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook accounts, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
My utility bills are going through the roof. How can I take advantage of the sun and put my lazy roof to work?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Energy team reporting. When you're ready to make your home or business more efficient, Action Electrical has the power to install solar panel systems and EV chargers.
Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta with supercharged skills and strong family values. ActionElectrical.net.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada. With sports and entertainment properties including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, is open in Nisku, which features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area. The Junior Prospects Hockey League is entering its 3rd season of gameplay. The JPHL now offers academic and athletic opportunities in the 14U, 15, 17, and 18U age divisions. All JPHL games are broadcast live on Silent Ice TV with a showcase-style game schedule and high level of travel and accommodations for its team, staff, and players. To learn more about why the JPHL is the fastest-growing elite hockey academy stream in Western Canada, visit juniorprospectshockeyleague.com.
Imagine hitting 13 out of 14 fairways from the tee. It can happen. It does happen with a driver created for you by Fitted Golf. We are the only company in Edmonton who fits for all 9 features of each golf club. Amateurs learn to play like amateurs from amateurs. Come work with our professional team of scientists, engineers, and club builders and get fitted with the clubs designed for one golfer. You visit fittedgolf.ca today. Fitted Golf, where we continue to prove it's your clubs.
Honk your home for Papa John's newest deal. It's one big deal for one big pizza. An extra large New York style 1-topping pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's original fresh, never frozen dough. Hand stretched thinner to make 8 extra large slices with your favorite mouth-watering toppings. So hold and fold that slice like a New Yorker. Bigger is better when it comes to pizza. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get some extra large New York style 1-topping pizza for only $17.99 at Papa John's.
Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back.
Fox Sports Radio. No turn sports tonight. We got Fox Sports Radio coming up next. I got to say a big thank you to all of our guests for joining us on the program today. Of course, kicked it off earlier on with, we almost had Theo Johnson. That changed. Ted Nguyen of The Athletic. Theo Johnson, Giants tight end, should be on the show tomorrow, actually, at 2:20. Canadian, 4th-round pick, went to Penn State, should be on with Gregor tomorrow at 2:20. We had Ian Herbers, Dave McCarthy, Struddy, Speck, Derek Van Diest, of course, Wanye Gretz made another appearance with us here on the show. And we talked a little bit of Washington Commanders with Natalie Spala. So if you want to miss anything, check out our podcast, jasongregor.com. Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you get it from. Norman at Combine says, good 4th hour, boys. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Norm. Appreciate you tuning in today on this fine Tuesday. Lance says, I've been on the dark web many times. It's not illegal to be on. Technically, dark web is just the internet without Google keeping you safe. I believe Wanye's been on the dark web.
Yeah, but not even do anything bad.
Just checking it out.
Yeah.
What's the weirdest thing you saw?
Nothing. I don't really go. I've never seen a horror movie, Connor, in my life, really, except for Alien. I saw much too young. And that's why I don't have nightmares. And I don't go looking for trouble on the internet because I've been so down with these computers now for so long. If you go on the dark web, like challenging yourself to see what creepy stuff you'll find, nothing good will come from this.
If I go on the dark web and go to NHL.com, it'll work?
No.
Oh.
Think of just the dark web as like a series of like pages and torrent sites you can share files on.
Okay.
But nothing good. Nothing good is happening on the dark web, Connor.
It's like going out after 2 a.m.
PM.
Nothing good is
Don't
out there.
go out after 2 p.m.
Is it better or worse than addictinggames.com?
Addictinggames.com.
Because that's the bar.
What about like candystand.com?
Candystand.com.
That was an old gaming website.
Is it better or worse than Miniclip if you're trying to kill time?
Miniclip. What are these things? Nobody goes to the dark web to kill time. They go to the dark web to buy an AMRAAM missile battery to take out a helicopter they don't like.
Or drugs.
Or drugs.
You know what? I know what I'm listening to on the way home tonight. I'm going to watch a
podcast?
YouTube video on the dark web
No.
as I drive home.
You watch stuff about the San Diego Chargers and stay in your lane.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You must be so happy when Chargers come to the Elks. Are you like, my worlds are colliding? And you meet them at the airport. Didn't you say there was a guy who came from the Chargers?
Oh, like one player who was cut. It's happened a few times, yeah.
Are you so happy?
Trevor Gaylor.
The best.
Davis Sanchez.
Unreal.
I think kind of ends there. There's probably a few more, but one time there was a Chargers running back, Shaq Cooper, who was good buddies with a Chargers linebacker, Denzel Perriman. So I got to talk to him about that. Other than that, it doesn't happen too often. The crossover, it is known to happen. Hey, Declan, could you give our avid listeners an update on Bianca? Do you know what's going on?
Well, let me check here.
I think she is
Let
leading.
me check the score here. Bianca Andreescu is currently up 3-2, up a break in set one.
Big Bianca fans here at Sports 1440. Wishing nothing for the best. Did Layla Annie Fernandez get the job done?
She did not. She lost.
Oh,
Third
shoot.
Canadian of the day to lose.
Between Chapo and Felix Auger-Aliassime?
Yeah, and her. She lost to Anastasia Potapova in 3 sets, 7-5 in the last set. Won the first set 6-2, dropped 6-4, 7-5.
So are we down to Bianca? Is she our last hope?
Bianca and Gabrielle Diallo.
Okay. She won or she hasn't played yet?
Gabrielle Diallo is a guy, and he is currently playing one set apiece. He's up 3-1 in the third.
What's his first name?
Gabrielle.
Oh.
So like Gabriel, I guess.
I thought you said Gabriella.
Sorry, I might have it might have come out that way. But yeah, so Gabriel for all we'll just call him Gabe actually. Gabe Diallo.
Busted. I don't know tennis that well.
Busted.
But I like to root on the Canadians. Hope it goes well for him. US Open, obviously a big tournament to follow. And I think Bianca's had some good success there. Was it Layla Annie Fernandez that had a good run a few years ago, Declan? The US Open?
Yeah, I forget what year it was, but she made it pretty deep not too long ago.
We'll get it done. Hopefully Bianca can get it done here. Up 3-2 in the first set. Now, that's going to do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show as we wrap things up. Big thank you to Wanye Gretz for coming in.
Anytime you need me, my man.
Declan Kruger for keeping us on track. Donovan Paulson doing his thing over there on the streams, and all of you for tuning in today. Thank you once again. Gregor is back tomorrow, and we'll do it all over again. Lots to get to on the show tomorrow. Another episode of Who Is It Wednesday, and I think you're going to really like this one because you know what? They all are awesome. Check out the podcast if you missed anything. Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you get it from, or jasongregor.com. Have a great night, everyone. Before we get going here, we'll do one last Sports 1440 update brought to you by Rhoda Exclusive. An exclusive membership with luxury assets such as magnificent holiday properties, a Lamborghini, a Ferrari, boats, and more. Travel drive, and relax in style. Join now at roadexclusive.com. Limited openings. Here is Declan Kruger.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
And one last time from me, your Sports 1440 update. We start in the tennis world. U.S. Open action on the men's side. It was Denis Shapovalov falling to Botic van Vandenstoep of the Netherlands. He lost that one in straight sets. Also in the men's draw, it was 19 seed Felix Auger-Aliassime falling to Czechia's Jakub Mencic. And right now, Gabe Diallo currently tied one set apiece with Jean Menor, up 3-1 in the third set. Other notable results from the men's draw today saw 5th seed Daniil Medvedev winning in 4 sets. Number 1 seed Jannik Sinner winning in 4 sets as well. And Herbert Hurkacz, the 7th seed, winning in 3 sets. In the women's side, it was Leylah Ann Fernandez falling to Anastasia Potapova in 3 sets, 2-6, 6-4, 7-5. Bianca Andreescu currently in action right now as she leads Jasmine Paolini 3-2 in the first set. Other notable results from the women's side today saw Danielle Collins dropping in the first round, the 11th seed, as did 10 seed Yelena Ostapenko to former champion Naomi Osaka. MLB scores around the league right now. Angels and Tigers 0-0 delayed. That one was in the top of the first. Cubs lead the Pirates 5-2 in the middle of the fourth. Phillies lead the Astros 4-0 in the bottom of the fourth. Royals up 2-1 on the Guardians in the top of the fifth. Reds up 1-0 on the Athletics at the end of the fifth. Nats up 3-0 on the Yankees in the top of the fifth. Blue Jays, they're trailing the Red Sox 1-0 right now. That one's in the top of the third. Braves and Twins and Padres Cardinals both tied 0-0 in the bottom of the first. Getting going in about 15 minutes time here where we will see the Giants and the Brewers and the Rangers and White Sox. News in the NFL world as Odell Beckham Jr. is expected to miss 4 games, at least the first 4 games for the Miami Dolphins after being placed on the PUP list. Jamar Chase is expected to play in the opener for the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Kansas City Chiefs have parted ways with Kadarius Toney. That's going to do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. On behalf of Connor Halley and Wanye Gretz and Donovan Paulson, I'm Declan Kruger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.